Everybody, welcome to Directly to You. It's the 111th episode of this very show. It's our show. We're fanatixfour. I am AJ of fanatixfour. I am joined by Parker of fanatixfour.
For the Lord of the Rings fans out there, it's our 111st. There you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Housekeeping stuff. You can support this channel by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour. I was going to say youtube.tv. That's not true. Or twitch.tv.
Would that do anything? Does that just redirect? I'm going to try that.
It probably does. But for that, you get exclusive emotes, you get loyalty badges, you get gaming time with us, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to our supporters-only Discord, or you can talk Duncan and Chicapo about Valorant keys. The beta access or whatever. That's not really a beta. It's like a glorified beta. That's really a demo that they want to, it's stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can talk about that stuff, man, or Nintendo Switch games if you want to, but you could also talk about Nintendo Switch games in our Discord for free by clicking the link in the description. That's all the housekeeping stuff. Other than follow us on Twitter, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the stuff that I was talking about before,
Accurate. I checked youtube.tv, by the way. YouTube.tv just goes to the YouTube live TV service.
Like the cable thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so even if you do /fanatixfour, just bumps you right on back to be like, right. You want to pay some money to watch TV online? And I'll be like, I don't care about TV online. I mean, I do, but not live because I don't care. I'll just watch it late.
I don't care about TV, period.
I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine the day after it happens because honestly, it's a tangent already. Here we go. It's great stuff. Ashley and I were talking yesterday. Parks and Recreation got canceled during its 7th season, but I really wonder if it just was a terrible time for specifically that show cable-wise, because it was right around the time when everybody was cutting cable, and I'm pretty sure most of their fans were people our age who probably stopped watching cable and migrated to Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. And so whereas now with Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Good Place or whatever, same show or shows with the same network, they probably factor Hulu plays from the next day and all that into their viewership and whatever. But I don't think Parks and Rec would have at the time, because they were only putting up their episodes a year later or something like that on streaming services. So I wonder if that's why Parks and Rec got canceled, even though it was still popular. That's a fun little theory for you. Yes, I am playing games.
It's not a game theory. It's not a game theory.
A TV theory.
That's just a film theory. It's just a film theory, dude.
Yeah, I guess so. Because they've got, for what it's worth, the green, the red, and then there's another one that, has it ever been anything? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, I think they said that they have ideas for their other channel, but
comics,
they're not
maybe?
talking about it. They just put that stuff on film theory. Because comics are just film at this point.
Yep. I guess they would have to have enough film type theories to split up into film and TV. I mean, they've got a ton of them, but
yeah. That's what they just put them there. So it's I don't know, freaking food
book
theory, music theoy.
Oh, I'd be down with some music
theory. But
theory.
music theory, I think he talked about, this is just a game theory podcast now, a Matt Pat podcast.
Yeah.
But I think he was talking about how they thought about doing music theory, but music is a nightmare on YouTube because music rights in general freaking suck. Probably never going to get that.
Yep.
But tangent aside, are you playing any video games?
I am playing some video games. We'll talk about probably Animal Crossing some, but Ni no Kuni, playing more of that. So it's still going well. I'm enjoying it. It's funny how I've put 16 hours into it now. It's funny thinking about how that feels I've been playing it a decent amount. I'm 16 hours in. Meanwhile, this same amount of time in Animal Crossing, if I'd put in, I don't know how, I put in 40 hours in a week to a week and a half in Animal Crossing, and 16 hours feels I'm playing it fairly. What is this disconnect? How does that work? It's just so weird. I can't even articulate it right. But needless to say,
Animal Crossing feels a lot less active. You could play it a lot and not even feel you played it a lot,
It's true, yeah.
Whereas Ni no Kuni is you feel every hour of that.
Yeah, I mean, with any RPG probably like that too, outside of grinding, if you make it to new checkpoint type bits, which any story, like any cutscene feels like I've made it to a next point. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of bits that feel like that's a stopping point. But you're right, in Animal Crossing, at all times it feels like, but I did want to do that over there. So let me go do that.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, I played 16 hours Animal Crossing, but like 3 hours of that was me picking fruits at disparate points of time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and you can't really like, because it all blends together. So it's not like a
Mhm.
thing of like, I spent an hour picking fruit today. It's like, no, I
Mhm.
picked fruit for 12 minutes and then freaking Aurora or whatever. I'm sure that's an
Uh-huh.
animal of some sort. Somebody let me know. Walked up to me and was like, hey,
Wait, you
man.
said Aurora?
Yeah.
100%. That's Ashley's favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a penguin. It's Ashley's favorite villager,
I just
Aurora.
threw out a
She's a little
random
penguin.
name that
It's kind of
I was positive was going to be one. I was
it's
sure.
you know how people love what's that one boy penguin's name?
Ralph or something. Are you talking about the one that has a Twitter? Just like a
Yeah,
Twitter account,
yeah.
and
It's
yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
it's
Raul
something
or
Raoul
Raul or
or
something.
whatever.
Yeah.
What's within that vein. I'm gonna look it up because I'm gonna be mad.
How do you want to find it if
Penguin.
you don't even know what the name is?
Just looking at Penguin Animal Crossing, and we'll find something. But in any case, Aurora is rolled,
Oh, okay.
Roald,
That's his
Roald.
name.
Like there you go, Roald
Sure.
Dahl, I guess, like that. Ashley loves Aurora. That is all. She's very cute and nice. That's it. So there you go.
Gotcha. I
But
lost
yes,
my
you were
point.
saying
But she
Aurora
walks
walks
up
up.
to you and she's like, hey, man, I got this thing. Can you find it for me? Or can you find where I buried this treasure? You ever run into one of those?
Oh
That sort
yeah,
of thing.
I haven't
Um,
found one of those yet. Ashley did though, and
I found only 3 of
she
them so
found
far.
it. She found it. It like just in the nick of time, like on the buzzer, but didn't bring it back in time because he
Oh
didn't
my God.
specify that. And it was also at the same time. It was during Bunny Week, so where there was tons of things to dig up. Like,
Is there a timer for that? Or is it just within that day?
oh, this one
I
was within 6 minutes. It
Oh
was
my
like, go
God.
find. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew
maybe it was a
that. Like, I
better
know
treasure.
finding it is like there's a time limit, but I think
Mm.
that you should be able to bring it back within the day.
No, it sounds because I looked it up and it sounded like somebody else had the same issue, but like
That's
she
crazy.
definitely picked like
But then
had it
again,
in her inventory with 3 seconds left or something.
every single one of those things, they're like, "Hey, find this thing," and 6 seconds later, I'm like, "Here's the thing."
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's easy to like. At least how my island was set up at the time, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna
Yep.
go in sections, you know, like I'm going to
Yep.
go left to right, up down, left to right, up down until I find the
Mm-hmm.
thing, and then here it is, it's right there, and
Yeah.
I find it.
I
Boom.
mean, like I don't think she'd done her fossils yet, and she
Mm.
still had a bunch of earth
Oh,
eggs. So
oof.
like that made it. So she was like, this one, nope,
Oh,
not
that
that. This
has
one,
to
nope, not
suck.
that one.
Like every time you're
Yeah.
like digging something up, it's an egg. That sucks,
Yep.
dude. That's crazy.
100%. So
But yeah, that's
it was a
like the
funny
first.
time.
Sometimes that's the only thing I do. Like, a lot
Yeah.
of times when I'm playing this game, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna dig up all the fossils and freaking check my stores, and then I'm done. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna like
Yeah. I've same way.
do
Has your
other
store?
things.
Oh yeah, your store had already upgraded. Mine
Yeah,
just we already just somehow managed to get into Animal Crossing.
yeah, it
Nino
happens.
Cooney, blah blah blah. Playing it, it's good, it's fun. I fought Shadar the first time, for whatever that means for anybody if you've played it before.
Okay, wait, but before we go back to Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, I played more of the
Oh
blonde
yeah.
edgy boy game.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell me more.
it's still fine. It still feels like an obligation, kind of, but it's like fun, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really care if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
I'm like, okay, Cloud's still a jerk. Still don't like him very much. Gameplay is
Yeah.
fun. The more I understand it, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is even more cool. I think this
Mhm.
video makes sense. I like it. But it's going to take a long time because I'm only like chapter 7, which means I'm like a third of the way through the game or something.
Mhm.
So at this rate, it's going to take me like at least a month before I can even start thinking about this video and like post me completing this game. So
Yeah.
this is a long haul video.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah, man, it's fine. I don't want to play my PlayStation. That's the
Mhm.
main thing. It's like if it was on Switch, I'll probably be done with this game already.
Honestly, that's such a thing. Like, I haven't played that's not true. I have played my Switch docked a little bit in the past little while, like in our bedroom. But at this point, Ashley's playing 100% docked, and so her Switch is just always docked in the living room. So the only times I've played docked are in the bedroom every once in a while. If I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed, but not like go to sleep yet. So
It's like
and that's
even
it's
playing
so
the
hard.
Switch docked feels. I mean, not even feels. It is way less tethered than
Yeah.
playing PlayStation. Because
Mhm.
at any point I can play, I don't want to play this like this anymore. Take
Mhm.
my Switch
Yeah.
and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's like just that whole thing. And plus, when I play, it's like so annoying because the PlayStation's loud and the controller dies in 3 seconds, and it's like,
Yeah.
freaking man, how do people like this?
I really do want to find out about, like we've talked about it before, but like xCloud and stuff, if that's ever coming to the Switch and et cetera. Because like ideally for me, again, it would be nice to have somewhere where I could play other games if I wanted to. And towards the end of this year is probably going to be some of the easiest time to, if that is never going to happen, xCloud on Switch or whatever, if I wanted to get another console to just have as a backup, towards the end of this year would be the easiest time to do that because they're trying to get rid of stock because, the next consoles are coming and stuff.
If rumors are any indication, the smart bet looks like you might want to get Xbox One X.
That's what I'm thinking
Because
too. Yeah.
you were talking about getting Lockhart, and they said Lockhart's rumored to be like 4 teraflops. That's
Mhm.
2 less than the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
So why get that?
Yep. So I'm keeping my ear to the ground as far as barely not keeping my ear to the ground, more like just paying attention to what is said happening. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm not super thrilled about being tethered to a TV nevertheless.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do it.
I'd rather that not be the
so I
case.
play a little bit of that game.
Nice.
And also I'm playing Smash Brothers still pretty actively with Falcon and Logan and some other friends. Hashtag get good,
Yep.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Yeah, and I did play some Mario Maker 2. We'll talk about more of that when it comes around to your video and stuff, but I played a little bit of that since the update happened.
I haven't. I need to, but I haven't.
I will say haven't played a whole lot. I
like the idea. I haven't even played the Boy Zelda update, dude.
I don't think I did either. Yeah, actually, I did because of this one. I ended up playing a Boy Zelda level that was kind of janky, so it wasn't great. But yeah, that stuff. Yeah, it's a great old time. Animal Crossing, though, yeah, been playing that. I keep being like, I'm not going to put too much more time into this, and I'll just pick it up when Ashley plays it, and I'll play it at the same time as her. But if she's playing it a lot, that means I'm also playing it a decent amount. So
I'm just, like I said, at this point, I'm literally only playing it when it's like, I still want to do all the things, I still want to like keep my eyelid. I wouldn't talk to my people, even though like, even that, like if they're not up when I'm playing it, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. But I'm still playing it in that regard. But one thing that I am like kind of not necessarily done with, but like slowing down on is the turnips thing. And Falcon.
I did that 1 week, and I'm like, nah, I'm good now.
Falcon shared something, which I'm gonna screen share.
Nice.
Hold up, there it is. Bada bing,
bada
bam, there it is. He shared this meme. It's like the freaking song. What is Slipknot or something?
No, it's man, who is that? Is it Korn? It might be Korn. Or no, it's wake up.
I'm gonna be mad if it's who I said. I'm gonna be so mad.
I don't think it's Slipknot. It's System of a Down. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this meme. And I was like, dude, I'm way too rich for this. I'm not freaking doing that anymore. I can't be bothered to wake up for turnips.
Yep. And for the audio listeners, I don't remember if we read it out loud, but it said, wake up,
in the style, and it
grab yourself and little turnip, whatever.
Yeah, it has Timmy and Tommy.
But that is
crudely drawn.
That was along similar lines, but it was like it was Timmy like threatening you or something, and Tommy was like, yeah, behind him, and it was funny. But I
Yeah,
don't remember what it
like
was.
it's weird how that whole like how they talk because
Has
it's
that
like
always been the way it is?
I think so,
Okay.
but they like finish their word, like they finish the word. So he's
Mhm.
like, "Well, come." What?
I have a coworker in real life. Well, obviously in real life, I
In
have a
real life.
coworker that it's
I mean,
very
is it
funny.
really real life at this point?
That's a very good point. She's not even like on my direct team. She sits next to me and is on an adjacent team of mine. So I haven't.
She sits next to you in Zoom meetings.
Yeah, barely. But it is funny because like I've pointed it out to Mitch a bunch of times, but I've noticed that she'll do a thing where in order to like show that she's listening or agree with you or whatever, she'll just repeat the last word of
Yeah,
your
she's like,
sentence
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of times.
yeah. The last word of your sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even like the full phrase. It'll be like, yeah, she'll repeat the last word of your sentence a lot of times. Times. Yeah. It's like,
Times.
this is really funny. And like, it's fine. Like, that's a completely fine communication method, but it's quite funny because most of the time
that's
it's like,
like a
doesn't make
strat,
sense.
you know, like that's like if you like take like freaking, like
Mirroring.
classes and stuff, it's
Yeah. Like,
like
if you take classes,
how you like feel seen and
you
like
do feel seen.
make people feel seen is that you repeat the thing that they said, and like you don't have to actually listen, but like if you say like how I just said listen and I like stayed there for a little bit, that's
Mhm.
like a cue to be like yeah listen.
Oh, totally. Man, there were I remember being very aware at some point. I was probably like 16. I was talking to my sister about just random normal stuff. Rather, she was talking to me in this situation, and I realized I haven't been paying attention for like 2 minutes, but she would have no idea. And I didn't say anything right then. I think I said something a while later where I was like, hey, so I realized earlier, I'm like kind of good at pretending like I'm listening when I'm not. And that's not great, but like, it's cool or whatever, but like, that's probably bad. So
it is bad,
it
and it's
turns
like
out good in work situations, though. There's a lot of
that's
times in
true.
meetings, especially with my manager, where like she'll just go off on
Especially with my
tangents.
manager, I'm not listening to her.
No,
What?
I mean, she's like, yeah, she'll just go off on tangents of certain things where I'm like, I'm going to save my brain energy for other parts of this conversation.
But
I'm a
speaking of
good employee.
tangents,
Speaking of tangents, Animal
uh,
Crossing's good,
yeah,
but other things are even better
it's
for
true.
some people.
Sure,
So,
I'm not sure how that is a segue into what we're
hey,
talking
you know
about
what?
next. But we're talking about
I
something next.
We are talking about something next. Yeah, so I mean, Nintendo obviously is a company that does more things than just make video games. For the
Mhm.
most part, they just make video games,
Mhm.
but they're obvious. We know that they're trying to diversify and do other things. So,
Yeah. Diversify other things.
how'd you know? So yeah, some news came out this week that Value Act Capital Partners LP, which Value
Sounds like a
Act,
company. Yeah.
it does. It sounds too much like a company. You know what I'm saying? Like Value Act
Like a made
sounds
up
like a
company.
fake thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Nevertheless, whatever. They bought a stake. I don't know how the parts of this work, but they have a stake of over $1.1 billion now in Nintendo. Cool. And which apparently is about 2% stake of
Mhm.
Nintendo, which is kind of insane that
Yeah.
Nintendo's worth, what would that be then? Like $50 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that, I mean, sounds
Which
about
that
right.
doesn't sound too insane to me.
Yeah, once I realized it was 2%, that the numbers didn't seem to make sense, but then as soon as I said that makes sense. But in any case, so yeah, the main thing about this seems to be something to the effect of they want Nintendo to go further into the whole media, like digital entertainment business, more so than just being Nintendo making video games. And Nintendo is doing that, but they're trying to invest to push them to do it faster.
So what do they mean specifically by like digital entertainment? Are they talking like Netflix? Are they talking like YouTube?
Let's read the article. And it's not that long, so that's good. So Value Act, which first began buying stock in April 2019, grew the position in Nintendo, known for its gaming consoles and for having turned characters like Mario and Donkey Kong into international hits during the stock market sell-off in February and March, according to the letter sent to its investors. Nintendo's future is bright, ValueAct wrote in its letter, adding there is potential for growth in both there's potential for growth both in the software business and room for improvement to transform itself into a broader entertainment company. ValueAct has picked up about 2.6 million shares, or about a 2% stake in Nintendo. Look at that. That's the one. You got it. And then shares of the Japanese company rose more than 2% as trading started in Tokyo. And then they said, we're aware that ValueAct is holding a stake and we've been engaged in dialogue with them. We won't disclose content of our dialogue with our investors, a Nintendo spokesman said. Spokesman for ValueAct declined to comment. San Francisco-based ValueAct said it has had several meetings with members of Nintendo management and that it believes in the vision the company's chief executive, Shintaro Furukawa, has shared with ValueAct and with others. Unlike other investment firms that push for change publicly and often ask for board seats at target companies, ValueAct prefers to work with management behind the scenes. Its partners could offer relevant guidance and experience to help Nintendo after having served on boards at Adobe and Microsoft, the firm's letter said, stopping short of asking for board representation. All right, it says other things, but we got the gist.
We got it.
Good job sharing that screen over there. You did it.
It's easier now.
It is.
That's one thing that they moved. That was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, that was, I think, so, okay, initial thoughts on this. Cool. I like the idea, obviously, of Nintendo diversifying and doing more things, as long as it doesn't mean they do less of what they're doing now, which I don't think anybody thinks is the case. If it's an expansion, cool. Also, the other thing for me that I like is that they're doing it more, what feels like the better way of going behind the scenes and actually having conversations and planning stuff out together, rather than being like, hey, yo, Nintendo, we own some money in you guys.
Do that thing. We own some money. Do some things.
So those are
like, hey, man, here's people we worked with before. We can work with you to do the thing. It's going to be a good time. You got things. We got things. Let's do it, man.
Yep. So, yeah,
I mean, yeah, I'm down. I mean, we talked about them specifically. I've been talking about forever how they're Disney and they need to act like it. Like, because even outside of just gaming, like Nintendo has like the second most viable IP far and away, not even close to anybody else. Like, it's Disney because they own everything, and then it's Nintendo. Like, and then far gap everybody else.
Yep.
So for them to like not really use it outside of video games does really make sense, especially since like for them to use their IP in other mediums, it doesn't even have to be like an active thing. It could very much so be passive revenue for them, where like a lot of their like big creatives could just be like advisors on these projects, as long as Miyamoto's there to say yay or nay and not go like too far in the direction that they went in the like Super Mario Bros. Movie days. And Miyamoto's just there to be like, nah, that's not a very Mario thing to do, but he doesn't have to be like storyboard in the movie, you know?
Right.
I think that they could really take advantage of their IP. And if they do want to double down and like do Nintendo movie studios, that's even better in the long run for them.
Yeah, right. I do wonder,
if
honestly,
Marvel can do it, you know?
Yeah. I do wonder if, or I feel like the Mario movie will be kind of the first inclination of what that's going to be like. Like if we find out just how much, like it seems like Miyamoto is pretty hands-on with it from just what we've heard, or at least maybe not hands-on because, but at least very
like
present.
He's
you know?
as hands-on with this as he has been in the like recent days of like game development, where that's what he does is the yay or nay. He's like, I don't really know if that works, but he's not like flipping the table, as it were, to use their own verbiage.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot they said that. Obviously, that's an expression in Japanese, but like not really.
I mean, it makes sense even here because like a freaking like executive being like, no, this sucks, dude. Like that just, you know, that very easily like calls to mind a visual of that.
Yeah, for sure. So in your mind, what would be the things like the pillars right now within gaming? Their three pillars are mobile, Well, okay. It used to be mobile, handheld, and home console. Now it's just mobile, home console.
And IP is
Yeah. Is that the third one they say?
yeah.
Okay. So then let's say we break down IP into which, if this were the case, if they kind of diversify into being, bless you, a digital entertainment company, I feel like that they would split those pillars into gaming, which would then break down into console and mobile, and then IP maybe, which would be other things. But what would be in your mind the pillars that they should have or whatever?
Well, they already have TV semi established. They already had like
How
the
so?
F-Zero shows. They had Kirby. They have Pokemon. And they have other things that they kind of dip their toes in. With like the Kid Icarus shorts and the Pikmin short, and like even the Smash Brothers like CGI trailers and stuff like that. They could expand that very easily into like TV shows. I don't know if it needs to be a TV show because, as we'll get into later, I guess probably we should do that after this because it just flows better.
True.
They're moving more into like digital only solutions anyway because people don't watch TV. So for them to, and like to a certain extent, Pokemon, even though Pokemon's not really them,
right?
Like it's licensed by them to a degree, but like you'll see their logo in the Pokemon movies, but it's not like Nintendo is like on the board of like what happens with the Pokemon anime actively, But I think that they could very much so have a lot of success there if they do more of that with the IP that aren't as popular, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too, is like, I feel like they'd have more leeway to kind of do whatever they want if they were, but also it would be kind of like the Martha, was it Martha and Roy originally?
Roy. Yeah.
Martha and Roy in Melee, where like Smash was their intro to like, oh, what are these characters? Or even to some degree,
legit thought they were Zelda characters when I first saw them in Melee. Because when you unlock them, you fight them on freaking Hyrule Temple, and I was just like, okay, this is just a Zelda character I've never seen before.
So I wonder with that, like Smash, I don't feel like, I mean, Smash is definitely an introduction to characters, but not for some of these IPs that have now become pretty much Smash IPs. Captain Falcon with F-Zero, Ness with Earthbound, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how tied the character itself is to its IP, because I think that like Ness and Lucas later on did a pretty good job of like ingratiating people to that IP. Yeah, but Captain Falcon's nothing like F-Zero. Like F-Zero is very much so a Smash Brothers character.
Which you mean, like, obviously there's a lot of overlap in fans of F-Zero, and they will love Captain Falcon, but more for what he means than just for being
like there's like people there's people that bought into, granted not a huge amount, there's people that bought into Smash Brothers that play as Captain Falcon, but it's way less likely that people that play Captain Falcon in Smash Brothers are like, I want to play F-Zero now, because it's not that, like, you can't Falcon kick in F-Zero.
You can't Falcon kick in F-Zero?
Nah, man. No.
So, but yeah, I think with that could typically like here we go. Let me know when I'm not there.
It did the thing.
We're back. Look at that. Yeah, man, there's no way, I'm realizing there's no way to pause this and pick it back up, is there? If not, that's fine, because it might just do that again.
There is, but that would be complicated.
Yep. Then never mind. We'll just, hey guys, sorry. I figured out how to fix it last time. I think it's on.
It wasn't even doing it last time. That's the thing that's weird.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think last time I had it on the right internet connection. If I switch internet connection, I'll drop out and then have to come back, and that's probably not worth it. So we'll just hope for the best. But I'll check that next time ahead of time. So in any case, having TV shows specific like Castlevania, honestly, Netflix shows or whatever is, I think, a great way to ingratiate fans to certain IPs that, again, like Smash was able to do, probably can't do quite the same way anymore just because of what it is. It could, but less
It just
so.
depends on how they make
Yeah,
the character.
exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, TV shows seem like a good way of doing new or like more unknown IPs. And then to me, movies feel like a good way of,
Doing
I
like
don't
the
think,
big one, yeah.
yeah, because
Like
I can't
you
imagine them
can't really
doing
say
an
an
F-Zero
F-Zero
movie.
movie. Yeah,
Right.
right. Because it's the same thing as like like how everybody gets all up in arms about like them using like Scarlett Johansson for everything.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have the same rationale there, where it's like we need to have the big name to make
hmm
people want to watch this movie.
Wait, when you say using Scarlett Johansson, they like Nintendo
Like
uses Scarlett Johansson?
Hollywood,
Oh,
no, like
okay.
Hollywood,
I was
where it's
like,
like
what am I missing here?
a
But
lesser
yes,
known
right.
IP. I just put Scarlett Johansson in it. People will
Yeah.
watch it, you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Which I mean, like that was the Pixar MO for a while back in the day where they would have like
Yeah,
big name people in
and
it.
they still kind of do it in their Pixar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah. I I think those would be anything outside of that. So movies and TV seem like the obvious choices. But as we finish this up and move into the next thing, any other
I
pillars
think
that you
there's
could
more stuff
imagine?
like Lego, you know, like gamifying toys.
Yeah, right.
Even though toys aren't as big, it seems like most kids are playing with games in one way or
Mm.
another, whether it be like an app on a phone or an iPad or whatever. Not as many kids are like, you know what, I want a toy.
I don't.
Unless it's like a
So
freaking
I mean, that
Hatchimal.
could definitely be true. But the toys or the toys that I know, the kids that I know, I feel like because like we've got a circle of friends that a bunch of them have kids. I feel like lots of times, at least around birthday party or birthdays and stuff like that, other people will buy toys for them, even if the kid doesn't necessarily care that much about the
Yeah.
thing. They still like will get a lot of sales that way. So I feel like that could still be a pretty strong thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean on that end of like
hmm
if they freaking made toys, they would make money making toys.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean like them being Nintendo, they want the kids to want their toys.
Right. Yes.
So they would want to make them more like the Lego
hmm
situation, where it's a game, but it's a
Yeah.
toy.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so I could see them doing
mhm.
more of that, where they want to gamify toys, because that's the toy industry now. Is like all toys that are popular are gamified in some way, like
Yeah.
Hatchimals. They're
Right.
gamified. They're just physical Tamagotchis.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Like, I mean, people are just selling loot boxes to kids. And
Yeah.
like that's so weird. But yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
that's
it
always
is.
been the case, though. Freaking Yu-Gi-Oh cards,
Yeah, yeah,
Pokemon
that's true.
cards, trading cards in general. You know,
Yep. Gotta love Pokemon cards. Yeah.
we
I
do. Thank you, Pokemon Company, for providing us with Pokemon cards.
I organized some of my Pokemon cards a couple weeks ago and it was nice. I also this past week I organized my my retro games, quote unquote, like GameCube games and stuff like that,
I
just to
mean, I
see
don't
what
even
I
know why
got.
that's a quote unquote. The freaking GameCube's 20 years old.
It is. There it is. So it's old. We're old now. But what's not old? Netflix. Well, it's getting up
I
there
mean,
actually. So
Netflix
a
kind of
little
old
bit.
too.
So yeah, and so Pokemon, as you alluded to before, their new TV show is going to be a Netflix exclusive.
Which is crazy. And
It is crazy.
I was thinking about, I was like, because this show's been out in Japan for a while, and usually the
Yeah.
show goes out in Japan before here, obviously. But for one, it doesn't feel like the gap is usually this long. And it also
hmm
feels like now with shows that come out now, the gap not only is not this long, but it's shorter than it used to be. Like My
Right.
Hero for a while was day and date with
hmm
Japan. It was like an hour later or something like
Yeah.
that. And now it's like a week later or something.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's like a week
I
later
just
on
don't pay attention to
Funimation.
when it happens in Japan. So I just get it when I get it. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we get it day and date subbed, but dubbed, it's like a week later.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I just watch it subbed for the
Yeah,
new ones
I'm
because
not that. I'm not weeb enough for that. I mean,
one sub a week is all right for me.
I'm
So.
apparently not a weeb enough to watch it at all at this point. But,
Way to go.
but yeah, like so it was just weird because it was like this show's been out for a minute and I don't even know when it's coming here, and
Yeah.
I don't even know how it's coming here because I know that like at the time, now I do obviously,
Right.
but like the last season I think like started, or maybe it was the season before that, like started on Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network had it for a while, and then
hmm
randomly Disney XD got it, and I was like, that's weird. And
hmm
like Disney XD had like Naruto too at one point. I was like,
Yeah.
what? When did Disney start getting anime? It's strange. I guess they got the like like the Ghibli rights or Ghibli or whatever it's called.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we established that last
I
time we
think
talked about it.
Ghibli is what I'm pretty sure, but
I don't know. Somebody that's Japanese. Let me know.
Studio Mibli. We'll just change it
Sure.
completely. It'll work.
Studio G-Man's studio. Maybe
The
that.
G-Man from Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Maybe that. Yeah, G-Man. But
You mean it's G-Man?
maybe that made him like anime more. But for whatever reason, they like had that for a while, and then it just was like, nah, we're good on Disney XD. We're not going to show it there anymore. And now it's on Netflix, which is like okay. And they're very weird with the streaming rights of Pokemon.
Because also, isn't there a channel for it on Amazon Prime?
That's what I was about to say. So they had Pokemon or have Pokemon, and it's like a selection of movies and season. It's like usually the most current season, I think, on Netflix. But on Amazon's thing,
it has everything in between.
Yeah, it's like it has like everything else kind of, but like
because I think Indigo. So I think season 1 is on Netflix still. So Indigo League, and for a while they had Orange Islands, and then they took it down. And then,
but here's the thing on the Amazon thing, because I had this for a little bit.
Right
on the Amazon thing, they have stuff from most seasons into like I don't know, like
probably pretty late, like
Kalos. They have like stuff up until Kalos, but they don't have everything of anything. So it's like they'll have like, you know how like regions are separated into multiple seasons a lot of times. So like freaking season 12 through 15 will be one region instead of like season 12 being one region. It's multiple regions for one region.
Yeah.
They have like season 12, which will be in a certain region, and then they'll have 10 episodes of that, and then they won't finish the rest of the season, and they'll have 13, and then they'll have 10 episodes of that. So it's so weird.
That doesn't make any sense. So I mean, I'm glad they're doing it this way, because this means I can watch it, and that's good. I just started watching Sun and Moon season, actually, because I was like, you know what, I've heard people say it's pretty good, because I started watching it at some point back in the day, and I was like, I don't know, I don't love the feel of it or something like that, but I was like, I'll give it a shot.
I think like because X and Y felt like way more like shonen, like like freaking what a shonen anime
I do.
is. You're a weeb. It felt more like that, and then like Sun and Moon took like a hard shift and was like, we're slice of life now, which is still like a popular anime genre, like it feels like they're trying to be like contemporary in one way or another. I don't know what the feel of this new season is, but it looks more like it's trying to be some type of mixture of the two, because like Sun and Moon has like a lot of like like we're trying to be like real loose and like modern day cartoony, like we're trying to look like Adventure Time and Gravity Falls and,
I just started watching Gravity Falls, by the way, or a couple weeks ago, and it's so good. Like I never knew.
I mean, I've seen bits, and my consumption of Gravity Falls is akin to my consumption of literally any show that I haven't watched, and it's like
I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend it to you, just because recommended TV shows to you is probably fairly hit or miss. It's definitely fairly hit or miss. But yeah, it's really like it's a Disney show, I guess, but it definitely doesn't feel like a Disney show. It's more like
it feels, from what I've heard and seen, it feels like it's like Disney's version of Avatar: Last Airbender.
Oh, which
like,
I haven't seen, and it's coming.
Wow!
I know. I'm so excited for it's coming to Netflix.
Yeah, but that's like because like before then, like just generally, cartoons weren't, other than like The Simpsons. Cartoons didn't have plots, and Simpsons still doesn't really even have a plot. Where it's like day in the life of The Simpsons. It's not like, oh, on last episode this happened, and now this is happening because of that. But with the Avatar, it's like everything flows into the next thing, and it's sequential. And they still have like one-offs where it's like just random adventures of Aang and his friends, but everything's leading to something. Gravity Falls feels kind of like that for Disney, where a lot of Disney has had cartoons in the past that were sequential, but they didn't really mean anything. Like they had Kim Possible. Kim Possible was sequential, but it wasn't sequential in the same way. Where it's like, oh, now she's a sophomore in high school, but it doesn't really refer back to like last episode this happened.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'd say it's kind of like, it feels like a PG Rick and Morty, but with the same kind of like, it's, it's kid stuff in the sense of it's not like cussing or anything like that, but it's still like smart humor at the same time, or like fun and like actually funny and not just dumb. Cause like a lot of, the Disney Channel live action stuff, like it'll sometimes, my in-laws will sometimes have it on in the background or whatever. Painful. Like I loved it growing up, and like some of the like Boy Meets World's still fantastic. It's great, but man, some of the newer ones not so much. So it's good. Well. So back to this though. Pokemon, good stuff. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm down, and I don't know why it doesn't seem like it has a subtitle in Japan, but here it does.
Doesn't it? I thought it had something.
It's just like Pokemon.
I think it was called Pokemon something Go. Like, didn't it have Go in the title? Oh no, that's just the character's name.
Yeah, no, that's the character's name, and like everybody was like, this is a complete reboot because it was just Pokemon, like how Pokemon is like advertised in Japan generally. So I don't think it has a subtitle.
It is kind of nice for what it's worth that this one seems even more divergent from the current game. Yeah. I mean, like, you'd be able to tell me better, but it seems like all the other ones were like, okay, well, here's
they follow kind of like story beats to a T. Yeah. Where it's like, oh yeah, and Ash also met freaking
Hal or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, it seems fun that this one's just like, oh, we're just gonna just have a Pokemon show and go with it,
go. That's a character in the show, dude. He's not named after a tree though, so fake Pokemon character.
A lot of people, yeah. Just like me, not a real Pokemon character. But yeah, a lot of people are going to be watching that, just like a lot of people have had their Switches hacked. Yeah. As it were. Well, their accounts.
I thought you were going to do I was gonna say that's messed up.
We won't harp on this one too long, but long story short, deactivate your Nintendo. What is it? Nintendo ID?
I mean, they already did it. Activate.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Two-factor authentication.
Yep.
Authentication.
And remove your PayPal from your account. Mine was definitely tied to both of our accounts, but did get hacked. So.
I think that this specifically affected people that logged in through Nintendo Network ID, which was like a Wii U and 3DS thing. I don't even know if it was just like it really affected that many people that had one and that it was connected, but like specifically people that regularly logged in with that ID. Because like I have Nintendo Network ID because I have a Wii U and I have a 3DS, but nothing happened to my account. But I also already had two-factor authentication. So
gotcha. Yeah, I'll need to check. I actually haven't checked my account to see. I'm pretty sure nothing happened, but I'll check in any case. But yeah, just be careful out there. Play it safe. Make sure nobody's getting V-Bucks off your back.
I'm surprised nobody's like trying to equate this to Sony, or it's like the freaking PlayStation 3 days of Nintendo or whatever. And I'm glad that that's not the case because it's like not even close in terms of like penetration. Like there's 160,000 accounts that have been compromised in one way or another. That's not even close.
Well, fill me in on the PS3 thing.
Huh? You like checked out. Dude.
Yeah, I didn't even know, man.
But yeah, like PSN went down for a really long time. I mean, PSN used to go down a lot for a really long time, and a lot of people got hacked. I was one of those people. I got hacked, and they like charged my card for like $250 or something like that. And it was a nightmare getting any of that money back because Sony's freaking customer service sucks. It was just a lot of people were getting hacked, and it was like huge amounts of people got hacked in one way or another. Not necessarily everybody got dinged as bad as I did, but like they accessed your information and you got changed stuff.
That sucks.
And it was like a lot more widespread because it wasn't tied to something like this. Like, I don't know, maybe if Nintendo Network ID was something that they still used in mass, it would have been a bigger issue. Yeah, but because not that many people had a Wii U and like weren't really playing their 3DS online like that and using that for whatever reason, maybe it didn't affect them as much for that reason.
Yep.
So
I don't know.
not being internet savvy, the internet would say, is what was the favor for them. Here.
Good thing it was connected to your network ID and not just whether or not you bought Animal Crossing, because
Yeah,
a
then
lot of people
everybody
bought
would be
Animal
screwed.
Crossing, and that's our next article.
Yup.
Let's talk about that. There's a bunch of different numbers. Well, not a bunch of different like conflicting numbers, but just like
yeah, it sounds like
one and that
somebody's wrong.
well, so like we'll see in what 2 weeks what Nintendo's like, here's the amount that sold, so we'll find out some more kind of straight facts at that point.
Mhm.
Regardless, it sold a lot. And
Yep.
that's kind of no duh, but like here's some records that maybe it happened. And some of these also are NPD specific, which means physically in the US, and other ones are other things. So I don't know, but this says the Switch exclusive recorded the third biggest launch month physical sales of any game published by Nintendo in the market research's firm tracking history. NPD began tracking software sales in the 1990s. So only Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Smash Bros. Brawl achieved higher physical sales in their launch months in the US
baby.
physically, which is crazy to think about because like digital is so much higher now than it was in Brawl days.
Yeah,
so like
of course, it wasn't even
that's-
a thing for Nintendo.
that
when
would be
Brawl
why.
came.
So
Well,
that's the
except for
thing.
like WiiWare and
Yeah. But then not only that, but also with, you know, everybody being quarantined and staying at home, I'm sure lots of people opted for digital that might not have wanted to otherwise because they just didn't want to go into a store or whatever. So, you know, overall, it seems like the numbers will be even higher, but that's crazy. And the third biggest launch month, yeah, since ever. So
yeah,
pretty
man.
much. And then the other article here is in its latest, okay, Animal Crossing is estimated to have sold 5 million copies digitally in March, more than any other console game in history, according to Nielsen's super data. So also, I think this was, I don't know if this is world. I think this is worldwide. Yes.
Yeah, that's worldwide.
So worldwide, digitally between March 20th. Oh, also that's a thing comparing to the two Super Smash Brothers in the last article is that Ultimate released on the 8th of December, so like right at the beginning of the month, and I think
no,
Brawl,
it was the 7th. It was 7th.
Oh, it was the 7th. You're
Mhm.
so right. And I don't know when Brawl released.
Brawl had a staggered release, so
Ah.
it didn't release worldwide everywhere at
Oh,
the same
gotcha.
time.
Okay, but so I guess just the U.S. release would count because since that was NPD specific.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I think it was like December of like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I wonder what the specific day was.
That's what I'm looking for right now. Oh no, it was March of
Weird.
2008.
March what?
March 9th.
Okay, so both of those games had almost a month's worth of sales too. Smash Brawl.
That's
Ultimate.
insane how big these gaps are because they don't exist anymore unless it's like a strategic one.
Right, yeah.
But it came out January
Or just a game
31st,
that they like takes a while to localize or something dumb. You know?
which is rare because
Yeah,
like, even
right.
that it's like what
smaller games.
like Dragon Quest and stuff like that. Like that's probably like the
that's true.
only game that really still has a gap.
Mhm.
But yeah, it came out January 31st, 2008, 2 months later here, and 3 months later in Australia and in Europe.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
But yeah, so this was so the highest March release ever digitally, which again, that number is going to keep growing. Like the digital number in general is going to keep growing. The physical one is more surprising to me than anything else, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, because like how?
Because of quarantine and because like that's just insane.
Right.
So all in all, we'll see these numbers in a couple of weeks, but Animal Crossing is just selling crazy numbers. And I really will be interested to know how that transfers across to like Animal Crossing Switch owners. Are they only Animal Crossing Switch owners, or what percentage of them will buy into more games versus just that's the one, you know?
I guarantee you there's multiple like moms and grandmoms and stuff like that that are just they only have this game and then maybe freaking brain age, you know. like Bob's mom, that's going to be her demo.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley, for example, has other games on the Switch, but she's only playing Animal Crossing. And
Yeah, and also you don't like she doesn't count because she has you to influence her.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, so
yeah. So it's crazy times. It's selling a lot, and that's great. We're having some good old times. And then the last news article we got here is it doesn't not super. It's whatever. It's a thing. Nintendo Switch Joy-Con colors and production. So there's 3 colors that, according to something, here, I'll just read it. It's short. I'll share my screen as well, because why not? Sharing screen. Look at that. Breaking news.
Look at that.
Nintendo Switch Joy-Con colors and production. Production has ended on several Nintendo Switch Joy-Con colors, with the Nintendo Switch gray, neon yellow, and red Joy-Con controller sets, left and right, all no longer being manufactured according to wording, Japanese, on the Nintendo's accessory page. All 3 colors are selectable on the Nintendo Switch customized section of the online My Nintendo store. However, they're accessible on that, however, and are also available to purchase individually. So it's not clear whether the Joy-Con sets have entered production or whether this will transfer over to individual Joy-Con and Switch bundles once stock has dried up. There you go. That's the article.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like.
I feel the same way. I put it in there because I was like, we'll see. And then I read it and was like,
especially gray. Like, there's no way that we're just not going to have gray Joy-Con anymore. I saw somebody tweet this story out, and they were like, everybody stock up on your gray Joy-Con. These are going to be rare. And I was like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. I think it's probably just a miscommunication or mistranslation or something.
To me, this feels like they're like, all right, we don't need to make any more of these because we have too many.
Yeah, honestly.
Specifically with gray. Maybe with the other colors, like the neon yellow and red.
I don't think, can you buy the Mario Reds here? I don't think so. Just by themselves? I think it's just in Japan.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
You can buy the double yellows for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's the ARMS ones, but weird. So there's that. It's a short article, but we'll find out what happens.
So green online.
I don't know if I've ever actually seen them in person, other than, in stores at the boxes for them, but not the things themselves. Whatever. That's it for the news, y'all. We got some comments to talk about from the videos that we made because we want to hear what you guys have to say, and we're going to chat about it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Your video's up first.
But we switched days.
Oh, we did switch days, so I guess mine first. Here, there it is. Mine. Kablamo. So my video was on, just whether or not 2020 could still, even considering all this stuff going on, 2020 could still be a good year for Nintendo. I surmised very possibly so, depending on what cards they play. I don't know.
They got to make sure that they have a Karibo in their hand.
A what?
Just a Karibo, because Karibo can take away battle damage for 1 turn if you send it to the graveyard.
So true. Oh, you're so right about that Yu-Gi-Oh reference that I totally got right away until you said graveyard. Once you said that, I was like, okay, I get it. Because
it's the only card game that has a graveyard.
I think most of the time it's called.
Together and not have a graveyard.
I think they're just called discard piles for the most part. There's probably
I would have thought that, like, if anything had graveyard, it would have been Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I've only played it twice. I think
never played it.
Both times. So it was with Mitch. Because he plays a good amount and collects and stuff.
That was just a nice way, like, because he's in the nerds. He's in the nerds.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's totally into nerd stuff. I mean, and we have a grand old time. The month after we went to PAX, he was planning on going to a equivalent thing, but for Magic the Gathering, like a conference / well, I guess it's more of a, not a tournament, but just like hey, we're all going to go and just play a bunch of Magic.
Yeah, rip, dude.
That didn't happen.
That's crazy. Cause like I was supposed to, like, before PAX, so many things were piling up where it's like, I got to go here and I got to do that. Like, I was supposed to do this thing for Full Sail. But I was like, I don't want to, like, I don't want to travel. And it was like way before, like, we got put on freaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still kind of crazy to me that PAX happened, considering, because like everything shut down pretty much immediately Well, not immediately
Well,
after PAX.
I don't know if it's shut down, but a lot of places
Yeah.
were more so being like, maybe don't.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's crazy times. But yeah, 2020, we'll see. And here's your comments. First up from Mega Man said, I really feel something big is coming. Nintendo has normally been pretty open about what is coming out each year, and with the unknown of what is to come, I feel Nintendo want to do a big reveal. Sure, there most likely will be some ports to come out to fill the gaps, but with Mario's anniversary, Breath of the Wild 2, the potential of Metroid, imagine that mid-year
There is
reveal.
no potential for Metroid.
I'm
Zero.
thinking Metroid Prime
Unless
Trilogy
you're talking about
is what
the trilogy.
Yeah. or the like 2D games that have been rumored. It's definitely not Metroid Prime 4, but something Metroid could happen. Especially, I think the trilogy like has a better shot now than ever.
The trilogy, I can see that. There's no way.
Yeah.
0%, -% chance that we're getting Metroid Prime this year.
Yeah. But in a time of uncertainty, I just think they want to play their cards right. Hey, that's what we said. Play their cards right and make sure they can at least try and hit some of the release date promises they would make.
Yeah, because you would think that they're not even just thinking about, okay, how do we pad out this year, but what about next year? Because stuff is getting pushed back then too.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, the point I made in my video that, I mean, it's a wild card, but like if I were Nintendo, it seems like they have stuff kind of in their back pocket more often than not. Like they did with Yoshi and apparently Metroid Prime Trilogy, if that's really been done for as long as people say it's been done. Like I'd imagine that they would want to finish up some things or use up some of those kind of I don't know, things that they've been waiting around for in this time because other things are going to get pushed back out. So, I mean, and maybe not, but that seems likely to me in any case.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, the Mario anniversary stuff also is a big question mark. Like if that's they want it to be a big deal. So if it's them wanting it to be a big deal, but it's kind of lackluster.
Yeah. And I don't know if I really understand the public's consensus on that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like that would be something that people would be like, a port,
Yeah.
Because it's like those games have like most of them, I would say, no, all of them have gotten to the point where it's like they're like legacy, like they're the Super Mario worlds, where it's like I want this on everything I own, So for that, and especially since they haven't really become that literally where they're available on everything you own. I think that they would be embraced more than like a port of 3D World, even,
For
because
sure. I think
that's a last gen thing, and it's like even though nobody owned this game, it's still a port from last gen, so port,
Yeah, I think on the chart of people being excited to not excited or whatever, and like what it actually is, if they did like almost direct ports, like up-res ports that were $60 for each individual game, then that would be the bottom of the barrel. People would be the most mad about that, and understandably so, because that's like really $60 for like exactly Mario 64, but up-res, that would actually kind of suck. But on like the top end of that, if there are any kind of remakes at all, however, even if those are $60 each, but it's a remake, or if it's like remasters, but they bundle them together.
Even if it's like a Wind Waker situation,
right,
where they changed up a little bit, but in the sense of remake, there's not really that much new in terms of like them remaking the game from the ground up. And a lot of that is owed to like how good Wind Waker already looked and played.
Yeah, right.
So they didn't really have to do that much. Then possibly some of those games could, like Mario Galaxy, I don't think they need to do that much to that game.
Right, yeah.
I think they need to like do some redesigning if they want to remake Mario 64.
Right.
And Mario Sunshine even.
I think the challenge with Mario 64, because Mario Sunshine, I could almost see like an up-res, better-looking version of Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy.
Visually, they don't have to do that much for Mario Sunshine, but I meant gameplay-wise.
Yeah, gameplay-wise for Mario 64,
Sunshine, they need to rework those.
Like Mario 64, especially just content-wise, I think would be a hard sell if it didn't look a decent amount better at a full $60 or whatever. But I'd still be excited to play it. But it would be I think hopefully at least they're playing their cards right and they're being smart about it. So next comment from Doc Ido, kind of the opposite thought process, but here we go. Said 2020 is dead for Nintendo.
Rip, dude.
I've given them a pass. I've given them pass after pass, but I just don't care anymore. Also, pretty typical. I didn't figure out what part of the video he was referring to when I said this. I must have said that it's pretty typical that we know this much for the year or something at this point. I don't know.
Probably.
Something like that. But also pretty typical. That couldn't be more wrong. We always get our year slate in January. That's why people were so concerned about Nintendo's Direct drought.
Does he not realize that before these videos, we literally preface with like, okay, what are these dates? We look up the dates for when the Direct announced what.
Yeah.
So you have the date in front of you in your script. So it's like in your outline or however you document your research. So for him to be like, no, like that's just revisionist history on his part.
Yeah. So then he finishes up. This year started off bad and has only gotten worse. So kind of negative, if we're being honest. But yeah,
okay. So on one end, I don't fault people for thinking that the 2020 is going to be bad.
Right. Oh, no, totally. Yeah.
Years. I don't fault people for that. But I think his rationale for this comment and just the sentiment of it is like real crappy. I want to say something else, but I can't on this podcast. But yeah, it's like, no, I disagree with that. And like, you just have rose-colored glasses for past years where you thought you knew about Pokemon in January, but you didn't, like, or you thought you knew about Smash Brothers September the year before, but you didn't, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's been so many, anytime people are like, but when's the Direct happening? Like that happened longer this year than other years for sure. Right. But every other year it's happened too. And so for us to,
but I think the thing about them being like, but when's the Direct happening? What happens in those Directs when they're like, oh, we always get a January Direct.
Right.
Our January Directs usually don't amount to much. They're usually dedicated to one game or something like that. It's very rare.
I mean, if we go back in history, January 2017 was the Switch reveal event.
Yeah,
so that was just different.
Right.
But
and then they had one other like general Direct that was like not even general, but
it was the mini Direct in 2018 was a January Direct, but it was
but I don't even mean that. I mean like a
oh, I see what you mean, like
proper Direct. The last
Nintendo.
time, the only other time that we had like a substantial amount of announcements in January was another hardware thing when it was like the 2DS or something. It was like either 2DS or 2DS XL or something. So of course they're going to try to have a lot of content to roll out with a hardware release. But now what do they have? Especially now, specifically in 2020. Because you would have to think in January, like this whole thing was on their radar in January. So they're like, yeah, maybe not,
Yeah, exactly. So I think overall, again, it's very fine to be disappointed with the year or even pessimistic about the year or whatever. The exact details are a little off. But that's all right. Whatever. Next comment. This is from Bad Latency, who says, I think whether Nintendo will have a good year or not will depend on taste, honestly. I know people who think last year was mostly pretty bad, for example, while for me, it easily rivaled 2017. People are going to complain about the game lineup regardless. The Switch especially is getting a lot of great RPGs and great exclusive ones, but there are Nintendo fans, quote unquote, who believe with a passion that they shouldn't even be on the system with the exception of Pokemon and Paper Mario games. These people have been grumbling more and more about how the Switch has nothing to play, but for me, there's a lot this year for me to look forward to, including some big exclusives.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yep.
Especially since like my most played game on my Switch by far came out in 2018, and that's a year that a lot of people are like, that year's not that great, but So I think that for the most part, like 2020 will be somebody's favorite year.
Yeah.
I think even with the stuff that we currently have announced.
Right.
Animal Crossing is probably a good portion of Switch owners' game. That's the game that they got. How I talked about before, it was like, when will people on the whole get a game that on Switch is like, okay, this makes it worth it for me. And I'm
Mm,
not always like looking for the next thing. Cause I think
mhm,
I definitely reached that point with Smash Brothers where it's
mhm.
like just, career wise, obviously I want them to continue
Yeah.
announcing things. But
Uh-huh.
as a player of their games, I don't care for Switch. It's like you don't have to announce
Yeah.
literally anything else for the rest of this thing's life cycle. As long as Smash Brothers still works,
Yeah.
I'm playing that. And I'm down to play more things, obviously, as a player, but like those will only last but so long in comparison.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes, I agree. I mean, I think especially the RPGs, that he talked about there, that's for me, that's a big thing. And like, there's a million of them and you can play them forever. And if you're somebody who likes RPGs for the most part, um, I mean, I know like Justin, for example, has specific ones that he does and doesn't like because he's been with them for so long. And I don't
Hmm.
have as much of a history with
Right.
them. And so for me, like I'm still being introduced to more stuff. So
Hmm.
like there's definitely differences there. So you can't just blanket statement say, if you like RPGs, there's
You'll like
enough
this one. Yeah,
RPGs to
yeah.
go around,
Right.
but there's something to be said for that kind of a thing. But I think it, bad latency, you're totally right that like for some people different years are just better or worse than other ones. And I think it's like you and I have talked about this, AJ, how like during certain directs, I'm watching it like part way for
For the
myself and
general
part way
public
for just
answer.
here's everybody.
Right.
And so it's interesting because I think some people have like Mitch, for example, watches it 100% for just these are the games that I care about. And I
Right.
think that's probably most of how
That's
people,
that. I'd say that's like 99% of people that
yeah,
watch direct.
people who aren't like
Even
just,
people that make content, I think, watch it for them. Like, I was about to
yep.
name specific content creators, so I'm not going to go there. But
But yeah,
unless
I mean,
if it was like Bob or whatever, I would say
yeah.
Bob. But I think Bob
Hmm.
largely also watches it in a similar way to how
Hmm.
we watch it, where it's like, okay, this is what I care about.
Yeah.
But I think that these other things are going to like
Yeah.
appeal to a large portion of the Switch
Hmm.
fan base. So this was a good direct.
Yep.
May not be been for him, but he'll admit that it's a big direct. But I
Yep.
think that most Switch YouTubers are like, I personally don't care about any of this, so it's a bad direct, and I'm gonna show you by making an angry face in my thumbnail and saying Nintendo screwed it again.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
that.
So I think I mean, that's the thing. If there's stuff that you enjoy playing and have to play and have backlog or whatever, like, I feel like, we judge too harshly on having a 2017 or whatever, where it's like, it checks every single kind of box or whatever. But it is at the same time, you do you care about what you want to care about. Who cares? But I think just
Yeah, I
don't
think
get mad
that
for the sake of getting mad, I
like
guess.
I think that the release it just you need to realize that the release cadence of games is going to be different for every year.
Yeah.
Like there's no game other than I guess Breath of the Wild that
Hmm.
came out in 2017 and Mario Odyssey that I'm like, okay, yeah, this is like a forever game. I want to continuously come back to this game.
Hmm.
Most of the games I would say it came out in 2017 are largely forgettable.
Yeah. I mean,
uh
Mario
so
Kart, Splatoon 2.
but Mario Kart came out in 2015.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
And
probably for
Splatoon
some
2 is
people,
like that's like a game that once Splatoon 3 comes out, rip Splatoon 2.
yeah.
So, and also rip Splatoon 2 anyway, because there's like people that still play that game, of course, but
Yep.
it's not like a game that like a large portion of people are still playing.
Right. I mean, I know like I recommended it. I have brought up Mitch a lot in this podcast, but I recommended it to him at some point. I was like, I don't know, maybe you'd like Splatoon, and he was like, if it's not like the thing right now, like I don't really want to play a game that's sort of dying. And I was like, that's pretty valid.
Yeah,
All things
I mean,
considered,
it's weird because like I don't know if I would necessarily describe it as dying,
yeah,
but it's definitely not nearly as active
it's
because like
mhm,
Splatoon used to be like with Splatfest and stuff like that. That was like the Animal Crossing where it's like
mhm.
freaking the Easter event is happening. Even though we all hate it, we all know it's happening and it's all happening to all of us.
Yeah.
That's what Splatfest where it's like everybody was like, oh shoot, I have that game, I'll play that. But now
Mhm.
that those aren't a thing that happen anymore,
Or
even the
are
people
they?
like my aunt, well, yeah,
But
we'll get to
yeah.
that. But my aunt, who's my age, that was her game. Like that was her Smash Brothers. That's all
Uh-huh.
she played. but now she plays Overwatch and she doesn't play that game anymore.
Yep.
Actively. And freaking Animal Crossing, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Splatoon, like all that to say, like 2017 to some people it's like that's the pinnacle of Switch years, but like to other people it's like, yeah, it was a good like starting year, but I wouldn't like if 2017 was all we ever got, people wouldn't have been satisfied. I don't think there were any games that like even Breath of the Wild, I don't think it's something that like that could be all you play for the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's true. Last comment. This is from M567DK. Rolls right off the tongue. I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this person before.
Well, thank you, M567DK. Said, why can't the other video game companies learn from Nintendo and allow the creative teams enough time to polish and perfect the video game performance? I guess this was in reference to because I mentioned the Animal Crossing quote or whatever.
Yeah.
So that whole thing. So
I think it really just is mostly how their business model is and how their funds are set up, you know? Like Nintendo knows that their games have really long tails because of that rationale, you know? Where it's like the better the game is, the better the game's going to sell. But nobody tested, for lack of a better term, to see if that would be the case. So they're like, all right, the faster this game comes out, the faster we'll get our money because the game will be making money.
Yeah.
So I think it's really just a matter of that. Sony is similar. They have a similar thing, but like Nintendo is like, I think they're way more ride or die with their games, where it's like Sony would be a lot quicker to close a studio than Nintendo would.
I'm trying to think about Xbox or Microsoft and see if they have. Yeah, that's definitely not the case.
I think
it wasn't the case with. Yes,
I think now specifically with like the new Phil Spencer vision and stuff like that, they think like that now.
Because even as recently as Crackdown 3, from everything I heard about it, it was like it wasn't in the oven long enough. Probably, maybe even at some point they just kind of gave up or whatever on it. But I mean, then again, like Forza and those kinds of games, like I don't know, maybe some Halos and stuff for sure. I don't know about the newest ones. People apparently don't like Halo 5, I think. But for what it's worth, probably also the hardware companies that are making first-party exclusives, like that kind of thing, would be more likely to do that because they don't have to hit deadlines in the same way. Like their money isn't coming just from games.
Right. Not even, I don't even think it's necessarily that where it's like they're making money from their hardware. That's not what I think their rationale is. I think their rationale is like, we need to make a prestige piece. We need to make a game that is the game that people say, this is why you buy this. You know, they want their Breath of the Wild or their Wii Sports.
They can't have like his Call of Duty, you know, is going to sell 20 million units in 3 weeks or whatever. I don't know. It's not quite that much, but still that kind of a thing. And like, even if it's a bad one, too late. People would have already bought it. Whereas Nintendo,
it's Call of Duty,
because exactly, yeah. And so like that's just the way that those go. So, and I think from what I hear, it sounds like they still do a pretty good job, you know, of QAing it and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, the longevity of the franchise would be bad, even if a specific game sells well but turns out poorly. You know,
because it's like people will come in droves for this one, and then because they came in droves and it's bad, they're not going to come in droves the next time because it's like the last time.
But Nintendo or Sony or whatever has to like they're going to sell this game to sell consoles, and then they want that conversation to keep going for as long as possible.
The timing doesn't matter nearly as much for Nintendo and PlayStation because since they control the messaging of their platform and because like inherently because they make games and they have a platform, their games are tied to their platforms through marketing and stuff like that. So even if a game has to come out March instead of hitting holiday, it will be a holiday game the next year. You know,
I mean, that said, still though, like it would be nice if other companies did it as well. I think fully agreement there. Like, I think that's the reason all those things that you and I said are the reason why it is the way it is. But ideally,
it would be better.
It would be better if they did it too. You know, like, if just developers and publishers that weren't software or hardware owners.
Yeah, man. Imagine if developers just like all made sure that their games were really good.
Yeah, I mean, and like crunch and that kind of thing too. It's sucks, you know, but
Yeah.
it is where we are. But that's about it for my video. Any last thoughts? What are your expectations out of 10 for 2020? Do you like pessimistic, optimistic? Like,
I'm
is
gonna
it going to be
give,
a 7 out of 10
for
or
me personally,
for sure? Who cares?
a solid 7, dude. Solid 7. Because like as far as like games that are currently announced, I don't really care. Like I'll
Yeah.
probably play freaking Xenoblade. I'll definitely play Xenoblade, I should say, because I don't know. You'll probably be the one to make a video about it, but who knows? Maybe I'll think of a video.
Maybe.
I want to play Ninjala, but that's not Nintendo. I mean, it's on Switch, obviously. I want to play that. I don't know. I'm going to make a video about it. I'll figure out more, like how much more I care about this game when I make this video.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of information.
Oh yeah, that's this week.
Yeah, that's going to be my next video.
Do we switch days for that?
Because
I don't know. Because it's on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think, that the demo's up.
Is it? I thought it was like after that. Because I was just
it's the 28th and 29th. I'm checking what days those are, which is weird to me. Like, why? Yeah, that's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe we switch days.
Cool. Sounds good. Look at that. Plan it on the air.
There we go. But yeah, I was just going to go off of the information that we already had. But if I can go off of information and actually get gameplay, that'd be better. So yeah, I'm excited for that game. Animal Crossing, like I said, already exists, and I already love this game, and I already put freaking 100 hours into it now. So like that's already the equivalent of like their holiday game. It just didn't come out during holidays. So even if they don't have a huge holiday game, they had a huge holiday game.
Yeah,
you know. So just off the merits of like what already exists, and Smash Brothers DLC, we know we're at least getting like the arms fighter, you know, and the Pokemon DLC. I'm down, dude. Like I'm completely satisfied. I can't give it like an 8, 9, or 10 because I feel like that's like you knocked it out of the park, man. Because there isn't nothing huge that's new that's not already out.
Yeah.
But I
at
think
least that we know about
still,
so far.
Yeah. But I think the year is still pretty solid. It's still a passable year just with what we know about, to me.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'd say like 7, 7.5, something like that. Just, it's going to be a good year. Also, it helps that I have a solid backlog of games. So worst comes to worst, I'll still have had a good time with my Switch this year.
And I think that's another big part of it. I mean, it's helped along a little bit by the fact that a lot of 2020 is going to be like continuing to give me more reasons to want to play Smash Brothers. But we both have reasons to play our Switch that are removed from new reasons to play our Switch, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So good stuff. All right. Now we got comments from your video, which also encapsulates, there was actually a lot of news this week, I guess.
There was so much news.
And luckily
it's funny because it's like the week before last week, we were like, man, it's not going to be a lot of news and we're going to have to like get creative and stuff.
So on the podcast. Actually, let's get into this real quick now. I mean, unless I haven't read your comments, so maybe something talks about this, but like without talking even specifically about these updates, what does it mean to you that we got these updates in the first place? You know, and like the rollout of these. Well, so for example, is it that Nintendo is like, well, I mean, with the Mario Maker one, I think
you think it's like, oh, we don't have anything else, so like, you know,
or it's like maybe there would have been something going on. Now they had to. The March Direct was later than they wanted it to be.
Yeah,
and so this is like, here's this stuff, whatever.
I think that's the reason why I titled the video like I did, because it was just the easiest way to summarize how I feel about that. Because I think that on some ends, like Animal Crossing is business as usual and like how they plan to release it. But Mario Maker 2 specifically definitely feels like they're like, oh my God, we can't do this.
Yeah, right.
We can't do what we wanted to do. So let's like, you know, throw everything together as neatly as we possibly can and release it as is.
I do wonder when they just would have, like, when that conversation would have happened, because obviously it would have had to happen a little while ago.
I think that it probably happened before the game even came out, honestly.
Oh,
because like there's like Super Mario Land stuff in the game from launch. And you would think that since they had the extra game mode or extra game styles or whatever tile in there, that would be like one of them, because that's like a gimme.
Yeah.
And then they did it again with the freaking Super Mario Bros. 2.
Because obviously that one, I think that Imran Khan tweet was really interesting, and like checks out to me in any case, that they planned on doing Super Mario Bros. 2 as a game style. All of that makes sense. And then they were like, we just can't, like,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, because they had to move that team over to something else because the game wasn't selling the same way they thought it would, because whatever. Because like the game did sell a lot, and they've talked, like, I think
Yeah, it did
everybody's
well,
said
but
that.
it's not a Mario game. Like,
And it's not continuing to sell well, I don't think. In
Yeah.
this, I think it was like, which, like, doing follow-up DLC, you probably need a certain amount of like continued sales anyway to piggyback
and
off
it
of.
seems like it sold about as well as the original Mario Maker did. And in my mind, that's a failure.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's in a way better position than that game, just by virtue of the fact that it's on Switch.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like before the game came out, me and Bob had a lot of discussions about him being like, no, this is going to be like the Mario game, and everybody's going to love this game because 2D Mario games sell more. And I was talking about how I think that the value is different, even if it's like from the mind of somebody that loves Mario, like Bob, that sees it very much so as a 2D Mario game that's just endless. Most people, just because the game's called Mario Maker, they see the game as something that they had to make levels, and they don't really want to get into doing all that and yada yada yada.
And also, like, there's something to be said. I think the world update is great. Would have been great if that were at launch, because that is more palatable than finding one-off levels or doing endless, which is like, you can't really control that quite as well. And like the fact that in normal you only start out with 5 lives, a bunch of stuff about that. Like the playing part of it, I don't think was ever quite as just easy to just get into and be like, I'm just going to play some stuff outside of the single player content or the.
And as a player, it feels kind of miserable, you know, unless you're like really active in that community so that you know what's good and what's not, because so much stuff is not.
Right.
So like, I don't even think that I wouldn't even, unless it was somebody that was like super savvy and they knew where to find all these things and like, man, I know what's up, I know what's hot on this game. Like I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that's just a player. And I would, like, the only person that I would be like, yeah, definitely get this game is the type of person that wants to create levels and feels like Mario Maker 2 would be their one game. Because like for me, if Mario Maker 2 was the only game I had and like I was just a player, I would be so down, dude, because I love making levels, but I don't feel like being me, you know. I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to play the game the way I want to play the game.
I mean, and honestly, like, even from a content creation side of like watching people play it, this game had a challenge compared to the original, where the original, like, YouTubers that did Let's Plays of Mario Maker had the 100 life challenge, where it's like, it has a built-in arc where it's like, either I make it or I don't, we'll find out what happens. Whereas now it was the endless mode, which doesn't have that arc by default. Like it kind of ends up having it where, like, if you're watching it or whatever, eventually they die, you know, but it doesn't feel like rewarding. They have to self-impose, like, my goal is to get to this level. And a lot of them will just be like, I want to make it to 8, like beat 8 levels within this number of lives or something like that. And I think the world map thing is what can do that and like have a built-in arc or whatever, but it's kind of too little too late at this point. Like you said in your video, like a lot of people said, it's weird.
Because it's like, just looking at this podcast, we were so freaking amped for this game.
Yeah, I know.
And like, even like immediately after it came out, we are like, yeah, man, like this is something we can come back to a lot and like play people's levels and stuff like that. But it just kind of petered out.
Yeah. I mean, and it really is weird to me that they didn't do the Animal Crossing rollout of content. I mean, I guess maybe because looking at the Animal Crossing new content that's coming out right now for May and all that stuff, those are pretty substantial to where like those feel almost comparable to
the amount of things that came out here.
To the amount of things in not maybe this one, but the first update with Zelda, or like, because it was Link and like a couple of power-ups, right? Boy Zelda, of course. It feels kind of comparable to that. So like maybe it was that they didn't want to have small updates, but they should have had small updates. I think would have just been better.
If this is all they had, and it's just weird because it's like their phrasing has people like somebody in the comments was like, I don't think enough people are realizing that they said last major update. And I said it multiple times in my video. I was like, I realized that they said last major update, but that feels like marketing speak, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like, we still reserve the right to release something if we want to.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you think that if they were like, we're going to add another game style, even if that's the only thing that they do, I would think that categorizes it as a major update, even if that's all they did.
I mean, at this point, the most I could expect is like a couple items, maybe a power up, maybe an enemy, those kinds of things. A little bit of that.
I think that
or
is
patches,
best case,
and probably
I think
patches.
That is the best case scenario. Is like a skin. I mean, like a power up here and there, maybe like some type of like thing to make your levels like platforming more interesting.
But we haven't even gotten. But we didn't get that, you know, before. So like, what's to say we would get it now?
Exactly. But I think it's way more likely that we're going to get patches, you know, and stuff like that. I don't see them really like updating this game in any meaningful way beyond now, and that's sad because it's like the type of game that they could have updated for forever if they wanted to.
The thing that sucks is that what makes or breaks this game specifically, and some other one, like most of the like online parts of Splatoon or Smash Bros or something like that, is the community. And that's the thing that they kind of failed at with this game, because like the core part of like just the game itself is great, and like they did a great job of making it and stuff, but like keeping the community involved, engaged, and like interested to come back to it. And the more people come back to something, the more people will be like, maybe I'll go ahead and give it a shot, you know. But
and then it's like, just like the pacing just seems so off because there's so many things. Like, we keep calling the last update the Boy Zelda update. They added more than Boy Zelda. Update, but they didn't have to.
They
literally could have just added Boy Zelda, and everybody would.
And like,
and
stuff, like, I barely even remember they had the snow thing. No, they already had. They added snowballs. It was
like they added like snowballs and stuff like that.
And they had the those
that's
guys.
Sad. We can't even remember everything that they added.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's bad. Like that's the whole.
It's all in how they compiled it. Because even if they didn't plan, like I brought up in my video, that maybe they had some sort of like Odyssey style, because they have like the Goomba mask and the Bullet Bill mask, which is very Odyssey-like, you know. Even if that wasn't their intention, that could have been an update, you know, where it's like the Mario Odyssey update or whatever. It's just those two, power-ups. Or just the Boy Zelda update, or just the world, which they called this the World Maker update, but it has more than that. So it feels like they just had certain updates planned, and also they wanted to do like the, you know, like the new skins and like the new styles, and then update the styles that they already had in the game and stuff like that. But that plan got thrown out the window, so they had to like, you know, throw in the additional stuff that they had planned for those updates that were concise and made sense into everything else, right? And it's just like, it just doesn't really work, because like when the update first came out for the World Maker thing, it was like me and Bob were streaming Animal Crossing, and it was like, well, I gotta play that, and then he started playing that, and I'm like, but like, what's really the point? Because nobody's going to have anything that matters, you know. Like the update just came out, but it's way more likely for people to have stuff that's substantial if all you gave them was like a concise package of like, this is something that you can design around, and they could still be unique because they still have all the other tools in the game to add and incorporate with the new thing. But to give them so many disparate new things that aren't even all in the same game style, it's just like, you know, like it's going to take months for people to like really get the most out of that. And that's cool for people that are that active with the game, but the problem is most people won't be. So like the amount of time that it'll take for them to get the most out of this specific update is way longer than most people will continue to play this game.
I mean, like, imagine if Animal Crossing, all the things that they announced in this most recent video, if they were like, that's all coming May 23rd at the same time, like, that's bad. Like,
and then it's like, if Red doesn't show up on your island on May 23rd, I guess you're just not going to see him, dude. Sorry about it, you know?
So it's, It's crazy. Let's talk about your comments now, because we'll keep talking about some of this stuff. But Anil Ahuja, I probably said your name wrong. I apologize.
You said Anil, right? I know that much.
Cool. Yeah. Job done. Said, whoa, I love that you were able to split the video into sections. Good update, YouTube.
Yeah, that was the new thing. I was going to tell you that for your video to like, because like, I don't know exactly how you script, but when I script, I do that anyway. Where I was like, this is the part where I'm going to talk about this. And a lot of times, like before I even write the script, I'll like say, okay, this is the title of the video, and I want to talk about this and this and this and this. So it was like just natural to be like, okay, well, this is the part of the script that I'm talking about this very specific thing. What time does that start at? And then put the time goes there, because YouTube categorizes it and it's like broken up on the playhead. And also it's like on a metadata end for Google, it's broken up, and like the video is associated on an SEO level with whatever the timestamps are. So that could help with discoverability too. So I would say when you're editing and scripting your video, keep that in mind.
Because depending on what the topic is, sometimes it's like not going to make sense to do that. But most of the time, that's kind of how mine works.
Yeah, and it's like, even if the video has like 3 distinct things or 2 distinct things or whatever, there's always going to be some part of it that's like, this is the intro. This is when I talk about this one thing. This is when I talk about the other thing I talk about. And here's the end of the video. Even if it's 4 timestamps, is better than
more often than not, I'll have at least like the past of looking back on something, and then looking forward on something. Yeah, just because that's how my brain works.
It's the easiest way to like associate the video with something that you talk about within the video that isn't easily added to like the description.
Yeah.
Because if you put it in the like say you talk about like your videos about Xenoblade Chronicles, but then you also talk about like the connection that it has with like, I don't know, Dragon Quest or something, right? Putting that in the description would feel kind of random because it's like a tangent almost in the video. But putting it in the video's metadata of like, this is the part where I talk about Dragon Quest, would make it a lot, more natural and easier to associate with the video on an SEO level.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll keep that in mind. Good comment, Anil. Angelo Matei says, I don't like that at first they tell us to wait for all the awesome updates so people start thinking and dreaming of all the content, and then the end, they just add a couple of things.
Yeah, it kind of feels like with the pacing of this.
Do you think that's for Animal Crossing or Mario Maker?
It's for Mario Maker.
Okay,
I'm almost positive. But they like or just maybe in general how they feel about Nintendo updates. But I mean, it's too early on to say that about Animal Crossing. I would imagine. But it feels like every update that came out, because we had the precedent of the original Mario Maker, they're like, it's like, whoa, imagine how much they'll do. That's like we even had topics like that with like the Master Sword. We're like, whoa, what if they put the freaking like
Samus, or
like
Kirby
Samus's suit and like that sort of stuff in Mario Maker, and they're like, nah, just the Master Sword, and that's it.
The thing for me too is like, I not only comparing to the original, but also just where they are in general with DLC with games,
right?
Like thinking of just comparing to Splatoon and other things that it seems like they would have learned from since then as well, just compounds on top of the original as well.
Yeah, because almost every time they do something with content, they're like gesturing towards something else, and usually they follow through. But this game they didn't. Going back, I would have to read back up on stuff. I don't know that they ever actually said, and we'll have a bunch of updates in the future with this game. I feel like that was something we assumed, but they ever actually said. Right. I'm pretty sure they didn't, because they didn't with the first game. But when the first game came out and they did that, we're like, oh, okay, this is the type of game that this is.
Right. I wonder if maybe with the first game.
And I think actually, now that I think about it, they might have said it, like not in like marketing. Right. But like that would have been one of the games, I'd assume, that like, how like Kimishima was like, yeah, we have these like stable of blockbuster IP that we've released, and we want to continue to support them with DLC and like updates and stuff like that. You'd assume that Mario Maker was like a part of that. If he did not mention it like specifically, it was implied.
Yeah. So I don't remember what I was going to say, but something along those lines. In any case, just it's weird how they're doing DLC.
It's very weird. I'm disappointed in Mario Maker. It makes me sad.
Yeah. I still very much enjoy watching let's play type stuff. It's super easy content to just put on, and like there's people that we watch, like Ashley enjoys them as well. So it's just fun, easy stuff to have in the background. But I can tell that they're already getting, up until this update especially, that they're getting burnt out on it, compared to how quickly they were with the original. Oh, I remember what I was going to say before too, is that I wonder if with the updates for the original, they thought they were kind of like finishing the product or whatever, like adding in more things. So it's like, and here's a complete Mario Maker by the end of the updates. Whereas with the second one, maybe if their mentality was like, all right, we'll just go ahead and mostly get everything finished right at the get-go, then like,
It felt like with the original Mario Maker, initially they were doing a very un-Nintendo. And that's why I think that so many people are disappointed with this.
Yeah.
Is because they were like addressing problems that everybody had.
Yeah.
Where they were like, where are the checkpoints, man? I want checkpoints. And a week later, Nintendo's like, we got you, dude. Checkpoints right up there. Got it,
Uh-huh.
And then they like had multiple updates that were like that. And they were all like timely, whenever people started being like, it'd be cool if this was in the game. And then 2 weeks later, it was there,
Which is funny because, like one of the complaints that people have had for the longest time is there's a start over button, but there's not a restart from checkpoint button. So it's really easy. If somebody doesn't design a level well, or designs a level so that there's a purposeful soft lock somewhere, you could get to a point where you're like, I have a checkpoint. There's 450 seconds left on the clock, but I'm somewhere where I can't kill myself and I'm stuck. And so like, but you either have to start over and lose the checkpoint, or just wait 450 seconds, which is lame and awful. So, but that's like an issue that they just like haven't bothered to fix. So
yeah. And I mean, this is like kind of a tangent, but did you see that Fix Ultimate Online was trending yesterday?
No.
Fix Ultimate Online was trending yesterday.
Cool.
Because Zero, Zero
I did see. Yeah. I saw him.
I
saw that tweet. So yeah, okay, I saw that then.
But yeah, everybody's like, yeah, fixed it because of the quarantine and stuff like that. All the Smash Brothers tournaments are like moving to online, and everybody's like, man, this sucks, dude. And I mean, people always knew that the freaking Smash Brothers online experience, especially compared to local, like any fighting game, honestly, it's not great. But Ultimate specifically, with a lot of ways that it's designed, is like bad because they have like a buffer system, which means like you do an input and then you can do an input while your character's doing that other input. So say I forward smash, and while my forward smash animation is coming out, I can press forward smash again. And by the time that other animation stops, if I'm holding forward smash, my next forward smash will immediately start. And because of how lag works, sometimes it'll buffer stuff.
So does it skip the first forward smash, or does it double forward smash?
It'll do the first forward smash and it'll finish that animation, and immediately after that animation stops. As
when you were only trying to tell it to do one in the first place.
Right, probably. I mean, there's people that understand the buffer system locally, and they'll intentionally say, okay, I want a forward smash, and then to cover a roll or whatever, because I know that they're going to try to roll behind me or whatever, I'll down smash, and they'll buffer that. So it has like intentional uses, but because of how online works, you'll put in certain inputs and the buffer system will catch on to inputs that you didn't mean to do. So like say I didn't mean to buffer a forward smash, but it thought that I was trying to forward smash when I was trying to dash attack to the other side. It'll buffer a forward smash because it's like, well, you pressed over an A. I might have not got the timing right, but I got the buttons right, and like I think that for Mario Maker specifically, they still haven't even addressed that. Like online for Smash Brothers is like this whole thing that's like, man, this is terrible, unplayable, and stuff like that. But Smash and compared to Mario Maker, it's way more playable. It's a whole nother. It's like Atari compared to like freaking Super Nintendo in playability.
The only times, honestly, that it seems like the online Mario Maker turns out fine is if you get to the like S+ ranking or whatever, because all the other people there, for the most part, are people that also care about it and have decent connections and stuff. But even then, I'll still see.
I think that
people have somewhere it's like, ooh, that's. But everything else, like
even in that scenario, I think that's pretty 1-to-1, but worse in the comparison of Mario Maker with Smash Brothers, because like once you're on Elite Smash, there's a lot of people that have really good connections, but also there's people on the other end of the spectrum that use their bad connections to their advantage.
Yeah.
So it's like
networking. using your bad neck connections to your advantage.
Yeah, man, it
Yeah, I don't know.
sucks, dude.
Yeah. Here, we'll keep going to the next comment. Hartman says, I do wish Mario Maker 2 handled their content updates better to encourage and maintain interest. But on a personal level, I absolutely love the new stuff. And it's inspired me to start working on my own super world. Undertaking that kind of project so far has been the most fun I've had with creating in a long time. The mindset going into creating an actual Mario game versus isolated Mario levels is super refreshing and makes one-ups and coins actually feel important again, something that always bothered me a lot with the franchise, but I'm grateful is now rectified. Good thoughts.
I agree with this. And there's a lot of stuff in these updates that I feel like that about, where it's like, this is a great addition, but it all gets lost in the shuffle, you know, because of how they paced it. And specifically this is something that I've wanted since before the game came out, since freaking before Mario Maker 1 came out. I've wanted this.
I mean, thinking about the one-ups and stuff too, and coins as well, is the only place where they have meant something before is in endless mode, where you can't really control the true worth of those, because you don't even know, like, is this going to be an expert or super expert or easy or normal? Like, you kind of know, you know, like if you make a really easy level, you know, but you can't, it's pretty much throwing a bone to the player for playing that level. Whereas now it's actually like, I know that having these 3 extra lives is actually going to be helpful for this next level, because like or like in another level, if it's really easy, it's like, you don't really have to worry about it. So, you know, those kinds of things and caring about that.
And there's stuff like that this is a little bit of a tangent, but I wish that they changed how this mode worked, because like no matter what with super mode, like you start with 30 lives.
You can change it from the beginning. So you can set it from 1 to 99 to start.
Okay, so the creator of the world can set how many lives you have.
Yep.
Okay, exactly. Okay, that's better. But what I was going to say is, I think that there should be some sort of incentive to keep your clear rate in a certain, you know, like threshold. So like people that want their levels to be harder or whatever would set their lives higher, and then people that want their levels to be more average, you know, like they try to get it to lower amount of lives,
right? Because
have like
I could see that pretty much what you're saying is that like a lot of times
like one-ups don't mean anything. If I start for the people that have like closer rationales to like me when they're making a Mario level, and they want it to be like, I want this to stand like shoulder to shoulder with other Mario levels. They would want their lives to mean something, right? Where it's like, okay, if you start out with 30 lives and my level's supposed to challenge you but not make you want to pull your face off your face,
yep,
like
that's
exactly
the
one. Then I'm going to give you like a good amount of lives but not too many,
right?
You know, whereas like somebody that wants their levels to be like feel really hard, unless they kind of want to like use that arcade rationale, they're going to want to give you more lives than what I would give you, because then it feels like you can make progress, but like not feel punished for trying to do it. Because with levels like that, when it's like these really hard levels, you need to die to figure it out.
I mean, also the thing, for what it's worth, the levels also can be accessed through the regular course world. So you could just go to and like, I don't know, I kind of feel like that almost makes it less good. I think it's good that it's there as options, but like that means if I was really having trouble with this one level on this player, you know, on a super world, I could just grind it. Yeah, exactly. And then it's like nothing really means anything. But I mean, the same's true for a lot of things. So that's not a big deal.
I just think like on the whole, they should like, you know, not police it, but like reward people for having good ratios, and not just like, man, my levels are so hard, when it's like really your levels aren't hard, but you just give like an unreasonable amount of lives in one direction or the other.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I didn't mention, by the way, I do think the content is really cool. The World Maker stuff is, I mean, exactly. The pacing for how they did all this stuff sucks. But the World Maker is super cool. It's really exciting to not have to think about like, I want to tell a whole story within one level, but instead I could tell a whole story within one world, within a whole.
It's like what Bob said. Like, you played Bob's level that you killed my son or whatever.
No.
Well, he made a
His
level
newest
called.
one? I did not.
No, it's. I mean, his
Oh, the old
original,
one.
the
Oh,
only
okay,
level
yeah,
he
yeah.
ever made.
Yes.
Called "You Killed My Son," and he's like, "Well, I'm going to make a whole like plot." He
Yeah,
like wants to make like a John Wick situation.
And I mean, even with that, it's fun because you could have a nothing level as well. You know, like you could have the first level be just literally you can't die, you know, or whatever. Like all that happens is Yoshi dies and that's it. And then you get to the end of the level and it's like, oh, that sucked. But then, whereas like in a real thing, yeah, that would be nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also it sucks because like you can't really do that to my understanding. Like, can you have levels that are just in super worlds and not in the
No, but
general
like
rotation?
at least people will understand like, oh, okay, that's just a level from Super World.
I mean, will they? You know,
I'm pretty sure
there's
because
levels
so
that because
many new levels are
there's
just called.
levels. There are levels that are just levels, right?
Yeah, right.
And then like they'll have them so that they're set up with other things, and you won't know that unless you play the other. Like Bob played a level today or this week or whatever that was called World 1-1, and we're like, what? And he assumed that it was like a World 1-1 clone, and then at the end we're like, oh, that's the world maker thing. But for people that aren't as in tuned as we are, they're not necessarily going to think like that.
I think eventually it'll be generally understood. The people that stick around with it will just know, like, depending on what the title is, if it's like 1-1 or like first level or something like that, probably that's, you know, their world 1-1. But yeah, same. I mean, still, it's.
Oh, and the other thing that I was going to say that
we have so much to say on this.
That I know that I like lost on it was they're not even good with doing that with like multiplayer levels. Like multiplayer levels and single player levels are in the same pot. So like you'll play levels in multiplayer that just don't work.
There are definitely, from what I'll say, there are. It seems like it's better now than it used to be. Where like now, as time has gone on, there's more multiplayer based levels in multiplayer. Whereas at the beginning, especially, that wasn't the case. And like, I don't feel like I see people having to run
like
into.
Every time I watch Bob play this game, who is literally the only person I watch play this game ever. I don't even play this game. I just once in a while see Bob play this game. And he always runs into at least one level that is like terribly designed for multiplayer, but it's still in the rotation for multiplayer.
Yeah, it definitely seems.
And mind you, this is Bob. This is somebody that's like playing this game, and he's not like tearing through levels. So he probably play like 10 levels throughout this whole 3-hour stream, and at least one of those levels is like in multiplayer, but it's not designed for multiplayer.
Yep. So it's interesting stuff. Next comment. Let's keep going. Daniel Adiodato said, Mario Maker 2 is still one of my favorite games on Switch, and I loved this update. But I feel sad that this update will probably be the last one. I'm sure that the actual content is enough for me to play for more years to come, but I wanted for more people to get to play and like Mario Maker 2. And edit, I forgot to say that update to Animal Crossing New Horizons was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like Mario Maker 2 is very much so a zeitgeist game. And because they kind of dropped the ball on keeping Mario Maker 2 in the general zeitgeist, it kind of like lost a lot of its appeal for most people.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, honestly, and it's I've talked a bunch of times about how like I'll watch Mario Maker players and stuff. It's such an easy game to watch and not play. And like, you know, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we made a video before it came out, like, will Mario Maker 2 destroy 2D Mario games or like render those useless? It won't, you know, pretty much because like there's something to be said for this is a crafted difficulty curve that I can anticipate and expect. And like every level is meticulously created and stuff like that so that, you know, I could have this experience and not have to think too much about it outside of how to play this level. So
the only way Mario Maker could ever kill Mario is if Nintendo wanted it to. And it was like a thing, because that would have to be a heavy like curation algorithm situation. Where it's like, we know that these levels are the levels that you're going to like. And yeah, I mean, and keep you.
They create one a week or something like that, you know. And yeah, that they promote other people's levels and stuff like that. Because yeah, otherwise it's just it's a free for all, but a free for all with some really, really great content. A lot of also garbage because people are just going to be bad
Yeah.
at making things. That's
And like
normal.
every time I talk about Mario Maker, I talk about how like freaking 0.0001% of people actually playing Mario Maker are going to make good levels.
Right.
Because like already as it is, 0.1% of people playing Mario Maker are
Uh-huh.
making levels at all. And most people's levels are going to suck.
And also the people that are the best creators typically end up being more like either Kaizo creators, which is like they're super good at it, but they're really hard levels and on purpose, you know, like that's
Right.
the point of it. Like, and it's stuff that you and I would not be able to beat in a lot of, it would take a long time to beat one of them.
Those are definitely like perseverance. And that's like, those are like the levels that I don't really like, not because like they don't really feel skill based to me. They feel muscle memory based, where it's like I need to learn the exact points of this level. Even like the best Mario players in the world wouldn't be able to like play that level one time and beat it.
I think it depends again on the creator, because some of them there's also like language that's developed now throughout that whole community where like if you see certain like if you see the lines like that, it means like throw a shell here and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So where
but
like
even then, I think that's akin to not playing the level one time, you know, because it's kind of like how Nintendo has like even though like I think their language is more intuitive and it's not of like I have to see this level from this other creator that's similar or whatever. You have to learn the gimmick one way or another. Like I just mean like go completely blind into like a Kaizo Mario style level. Just as like a competent Mario player, you wouldn't be able to like immediately beat it. You might be able to like catch on and say, "Oh, I'm supposed to do this here."
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And then,
that's
like,
exactly.
And it's going to take you a few times to get the muscle memory down of like, oh, okay, well that's how that works, you know. Whereas like with a Nintendo level. And just like a well-designed level by any developer. Like it's possible if you're good at the game and you understand the mechanic or just understand platformers in general, you can play through a level reasonably well, having only seen it once or going through it blind.
Yeah.
But these like the whole appeal is like you kind of can't.
I mean, yeah, I'll definitely say the best players still can, but it's like that's not even the point, you know. Like it's definitely about learning the level and doing stuff that's like, oh, that's cool that item does this with that, and like it's gonna be hard, but here we go. So yeah, it's a different mentality for sure than normal Mario stuff, which is what, you know, 2D Mario, the reason it sells so well is because it's accessible to everybody, you know. So whereas the point
and
of
even
the
if
Kaizo
it's
stuff
not,
is it's not
something that's like super, because like even regular Mario levels, the general public is not going to beat every level on their first try. Most people get at least one game over when they're playing this game or these games. But with these Kaizo Mario levels, even the really good guys, if they only got 3 lives, they would hit game overs.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy stuff. Last comment from your video is Sonmult says, I'm just being patient and waiting for an update. I'm actually going to care about. Button remapping is great and all, but I don't. Oh, this is obviously whatever.
He's talking about the OS.
Yeah, exactly. Button remapping is great and all, but I don't really care about it since my muscle memory is used to the default button layout. All I really want is themes and background music. I know this has been stated before, and some people are annoyed by it, but it's my opinion. But this is my opinion on the matter. As for Mario Maker 2, I don't have the game, so I can't get excited for it.
I don't know. I think that like that's valid. But for me, I don't care. I'm on the opposite. I'm the opposite end of you on this. As far as like the updates and stuff. Like I know a lot of people want themes and backgrounds and stuff like that, but like at best, I mean, I'm not setting background music at all. Like if they release background music, it's not happening because that will annoy me. Even if I love the song, I'll eventually not love it. You know, whatever I set the background music to. And themes, like I'm at best, I'll get one theme and it's like, okay, this is going to be the theme on my Switch for the rest of its life.
Yep.
And I'm done.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, for me, I think, you know, it's a question of utility for some people too, where like button remapping for you is useful. For me, outside of like NES games, maybe probably not specifically useful, but maybe there will be specific cases where it's useful. But then like folders would be useful. and that's why I want them. But that's it.
I get that, but that's not what I'm saying. Like he said,
Yeah,
themes.
right.
He said
Yes,
themes
yes.
and background music.
Mhm.
I think folders can be useful, even for me. But I think things like themes and background music are,
where it's like aesthetic things.
yeah, it's like whatever. You know,
But
like
again, I mean, I think the whole personal preference thing, like
Yeah.
like you both said, is a good.
it's
Like
true. But
again, it's like
for me, it's just like I'll get literally one actual use from doing it. And I mean, like, I'll get one theme in my life and then I'm done.
Yep. Pretty much same, unless they have a couple and then they come out with better and better ones over time.
And then like,
And they're like, okay, I'll upgrade it. To
yeah,
like,
it's not going to be a thing of like, I got a Smash Brothers theme, and then the Pokemon comes out,
Right.
and then I got the Pokemon one. Okay, I had the Pokemon one on my screen for too long. I'm gonna go back to the Smash Brothers one, and then switching back and forth. I'm gonna change it, and then not change it again unless one that I like more comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just going to be it, you know.
Yeah.
But if my 3DS is any indication, I got the Super Smash Brothers for 3DS background, and then that was just it.
I mean, it's like
never bought another one.
I feel like me versus Ashley with phone cases is a pretty good, or like wallpaper background, same kind of thing. I've had the same phone case since I got this phone, and the same wallpaper background for forever.
Yeah.
And she changes hers fairly often because that's just how we're different, you know.
Even when I tried to like with my phone, I made like a conscious effort to be like, I'm going to change my phone background to whatever relevant game there is that's coming out to like keep my mind on it, you know, like making videos and content and whatnot. But then like I got the Squirtle one, I was like, well, I guess this is just going to be in my background for the rest of my life. Like there's no reason to change it unless I stop playing Pokemon Trainer.
Yep, true. So there you go. There's all that good thoughts on all these things. You guys also left some questions just in general for us that don't pertain to our videos, but are questions, and we're going to answer those. Are you prepared for this? I am. Here we go. On YouTube community, 7 asked, how did unlocking landscape ruin your life in Animal Crossing New Horizon?
Not that much. It actually helped me in some ways because I wanted to put bridges in some places with the default freaking rivers, and the default river for whatever reason wasn't wide enough for me to place a bridge. And I'm like, that's stupid.
Yep.
Like, so it helped me in that regard where it's like, okay, I got to widen this river. But also, to be fair, there's certain like things that annoy me about it because like I'm trying to put roads there, but there's like a gap between the road and like certain structures. So like there's still like this tiny gap between like the residence center and the road that leads to the residence center, and the same with the airport. And I'm like, that's dumb, and I hate that.
Yep.
I think go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, for me it's definitely been useful. I mean, I can see the whole ruin your life thing too, where like now I'm like, oh, I just want to make this change and make this look like that and whatever. And so I've got some of that going on where there's some areas where I'm like, I want to do something good with this, but I don't really know what I want to do. And it's just kind of hanging out. I've got a big old courtyard area I created that I'm going to put stuff down in, but I don't really know what. But I kind of want to be done, like spending lots of time in the game, but I want it to be like, if I open the game back up, I'm like, that's right. That's that nice area I created. Which is not the case right now. If I open it back up, I get stressed.
I'm like chipping away at that kind of stuff. Like I have no real pressure to like make my island my dream island. Yeah. It's just when I have the desire to be like, I'm going to build that one road or whatever.
I just want it to be not a work in progress, I think is what I feel like. And everything, a lot of it, like my orchard is done now. At this point, most of my houses are moved in the right spots. There's one that I need to move still probably. I created a space to move a house into, and then later when I tried to move it into there, found out it was one space too narrow because it was the house wide and then one space on a side, but not an extra space on the other side. Goodness. So that was annoying. But I don't know. It is what it is. I feel you, 7.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in the area where I haven't, although I would say it's kind of unconsciously, I haven't been ambitious enough to let it ruin my life. Right. Because like I want to swap out all the roads in the like area where I have all my like services, so like resident services, then like the freaking Nooks Cranny and all that stuff. I want to make that like the like metropolis. Like I want to make it like city. So I want to make all those roads like street and sidewalks and stuff like that. And I have the patterns or I know where to find the patterns.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, but that's going to take me a long time.
I
So I'm just
know.
not
Yeah.
going to right now.
I
Maybe
think that's about where I'm at. I have a lot of trees where I'm like, I moved those out of an area, but then I just planted them randomly in a different area. So now I've got one spot that's like just a big old forest of stuff that you can barely even walk through just to stick them somewhere. I think I'm just going to chop all of those down
yeah.
just so I don't have to worry about, so I don't feel like it's a work in progress.
Removed my final like non-fruit tree. Other than
Oh, you're not
like
going to leave any of them?
no, because
Uh-huh.
why? What do I need
The
those
only
for?
reason is if you have 7 or 17 of them, apparently, then 5 are always going to have money, which is only 100 bells, so it doesn't matter.
I don't
And
care about
2
that.
are always going to have furniture. If
Yeah,
you
I don't
shake it.
care. I
Well,
don't
then
care
there you
about
go. You're
that.
good.
And I'm just like all that other crap. I'm just like if I need wood or what, I just go to another island and
Yeah,
get
right.
that from. I'll just freaking take all their resources.
I mean, you could also just, pick the trees and just hit it with a stone axe instead of an axe and get wood from
That's
those.
true. That's also true.
Or coconut trees or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of options.
So like, I don't need that stuff.
It is
Need
true. I'm gonna try to finish up a couple more things. I said this the past 2 weeks though too. I'm gonna try to finish up a couple of things and then be just happy with my island in general and have fun finding new furniture and things like that. Next question from John Francis. This is actually from just after the buzzer last week, so we pulled it in for this week. He said, "Funny question: worst villager in your Animal Crossing New Horizon?" So I guess where's villager on your island?
Who's my worst villager?
I definitely
It used to
know.
be Drift, but I kicked him out and got Meringue. I got Meringue.
Nice.
She's cool. But now my worst villager is probably who's my worst villager?
Mine is Muffy, pretty sure, who
sounds like the worst villager.
Yeah, funnily enough, was my first like friend villager or whatever, like where you can you've become actual friends with them, which I guess just happens after they ask you like, hey, maybe I want to move away. And you say, don't move away. And then they're like, now we're real friends.
No, I don't think that's how it happens.
It isn't? Okay, timing wise, it's coincidentally the 3 times it's been after somebody's asked me that. It was like
because the people that usually ask me that, I don't even talk to them.
So, but yeah, she was one of my first 2 people, and it's like, she's just the kind of person that in real life, she was the one that I accidentally made mad that one time when I was like pushing her around and didn't realize. And she was like, why would you do that to me? And I was like, I'm sorry. But she's like that kind of person that, for sure, that I know in real life. That's like, you're the best. You're so cool. But if you say like one wrong thing, they're like, that's Muffy. So like, Muffy,
kind of the worst. It used to be Drift, like I said, because he's like a dude bro, and like I just didn't. So he had to get out. But now I'm not sure. Maybe it's like, I think her name's Fiona or Flora. It's one of the two. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to her. She's a flamingo, and she looks kind of dumb. And I kind of want it's mostly because I'm being lazy. I don't feel like going through that whole process. But I have one of my aunt's other amiibo cards, and I want to freaking yeet her out of my village for in favor of this guy. But I just haven't had the freaking desire.
Yep. I don't know. Yeah, one of my other ones that I didn't like at first, but I kind of like now is Eugene, who's the obnoxious koala. But he's like, it feels like he's the kind of guy that's like, he thinks he's really cool, but he's not. But it's kind of funny how much he thinks he's cool and he's not. So it's like, I'll take it. It's good stuff. But continuing on from John Francis, he says, and serious one, in this time of insanity, are y'all saying safe? Yes. And then also he says, AJ, do your nieces and nephews know you're an internet celeb, and do they watch? And he also said, also Parker plus wife stuff makes me read this in a very strange order. I did. I just whatever. So more Parker fam stuff. Sure. Yeah. But yeah, staying safe.
Staying safe. Yes.
Tennessee is opening back up technically next week.
What?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's like, it's us and Georgia and some other states. But I mean, my office even, they were like, hey, we know Tennessee's technically opening back up, but like, don't come into the office still. We're not going to be open, so don't even bother. And I was like, yeah, no, that's cool. Stupid. Yeah, it's very stupid. So yeah, we're gonna keep just doing stuff the same
That's
old way.
I mean, to be fair, it's very southern. It's very southern.
I mean, yes, it is. It makes sense with everything that's going on.
But yeah, as far as the family thing, my niece that like my second oldest sister's daughter, she's like very like she's like huge on YouTube and stuff like that.
Nice.
So she's like super into it, and she's like, oh, like she uses more of my business cards than I do. She's like,
how old is she?
Uncle? She's 9.
Nice.
She's like always giving my business.
She's the one that was in the picture of you when you were 20. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
My other niece and my nephew, they're like, they're kind of aware, but they're not like as down, you know, like they're not old enough to like really care about YouTube, except for like stuff like Baby Shark and like that.
Yeah, right. It is funny with the like people knowing about YouTube things. My parents, I think, still mostly think that the thing I do is a podcast.
I mean,
which is like, I mean, because that was the thing that I think the reason they think that is prior to this, I had the podcast, the Joyous Eclectic thing, and then when I started, it was to do the podcast thing, and then started doing the videos after that.
Right.
But as far as like actual what has more viewership, obviously the YouTube videos themselves.
Right.
But it's funny because like I've overheard them telling people like, oh yeah, Parker does the thing, and like he does a podcast, and like then the YouTube video thing sounds like kind of an afterthought.
When I went to Full Sail, how a lot of my professors would talk about what I did, because they talked about me a lot. As they would be like, they're like, yeah, he makes like podcast content, you know, like even before I started doing the podcast, it just because like the format to them reads like podcast.
And I mean, maybe that it's more respected too, because like YouTube to certain people maybe just means something that is different than to other people. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just funny. But yeah, good questions, John Francis. John Mueller, this is a friend of mine, IRL. Hello, John Mueller.
Hello.
Said, try to squeak this one in last minute, but just got a Switch. What are essential recommendations both in games and gear?
Parker, get a Pro Controller. Get like one like this or one like this. They're the same. I have 2. And especially now, like with the button map and stuff, like this is my Smash Brothers controller right here. Yeah. This is my Smash Brothers controller, and this one has the button maps on it. Yep. And then this controller is for everything else. So like I don't feel bad for like setting button mapping to like very specific things. Like removing the share button and stuff like that, because like that's just the controller that I just use for Smash.
Yeah. I mean, especially in this day, or like if you're somebody that plays games more than just the Switch, because like again, I just hadn't played games for a while and then played the Switch, so like my hands are perfectly accustomed to the Joy-Con, and I just don't even care, you know, like it's weird to me honestly to use controllers that have bigger buttons, because like I'm just used to the Joy-Con size buttons now. But
weird,
for I know, but for anybody else that like is used to an Xbox controller or, you know, whatever, it's probably weird to go to the Joy-Cons.
But yeah, so, get you a controller. Maybe get like a case, like so you can put it in a bag or whatever. 100%. I have like a Charizard like case for my Switch that I have in a backpack.
So yeah, I've got a case that has like, you know, just fits like my Switch and has like some game slots and that kind of thing. But then Ashley got me like a full Switch carrying case. So
yeah, I don't understand those. I don't get those.
For me, it's come in super handy, especially the times that like if I'm going to Belgium or something like that and bringing it to where I know I'm going to be docking it and playing it with family or something, then I can bring the Switch, the dock, like we can play Jackbox Party Pack or something like that.
Yeah, I usually just throw all that crap in a backpack. Like I feel like I get more use out of putting everything in a backpack than having like specifically a Switch thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, especially for flying though, I feel like that for me, it's even...
especially for flying, I don't want to have a specifically Switch thing because I'm not checking nothing. Y'all are crazy if you think I'm checking a bag.
You're not checking a bag going to Belgium? Great.
Nah, I'm gonna get a carry on and a personal, man.
So
Unless
for
I'm
me,
going even then, I was about to say unless I'm going
Yeah.
for like a month, but like if I'm going for a month, I probably have access to like a washing machine. So like I just get a freaking carry on and a personal bag.
It's true.
And I'm
So in any case, I think that's one of those, like, depending on mileage may vary. So some people that'll be really useful and other people probably not. So that's something to consider. Games wise, I can't remember. Did I make a video that's if I
You
did,
probably
then
made a video in like 2019 that's like if you're getting a Switch, get
Yeah.
this. But like
I'm thinking about doing an
updated
updated one in the
especially since it's like harder to get a Switch now.
Yeah,
So like
and so many people are getting one. So I'll expand on these thoughts in a video.
So
but
yeah, I would say like make a video, just here's the plans for the videos. Make a video that's just like specifically here's where to look if you're going to get it. Because like one of my professors a while ago, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but one of my professors was like, hey, I want to get a Switch. I'm gonna buy it from Amazon for like $400 or something like that.
That's
She was
gross.
like, basically, she was like, she said, is it a good idea to get a new Switch if I want to play Animal Crossing, but my son has a Switch and he doesn't want me to be on his island? I was like, yeah, you probably want to do that. You want to get a Switch Lite. She was like, yeah, I bought one from Amazon. And I was like, looking on Amazon. I was like, the price of this Switch for just the Switch is the price of the Switch with all this other crap through GameStop. And they bundle stuff with it. But at least you're getting something for the money that you pay for. And for her specifically, it came with all this stuff that I would have told her to get anyway, sans like a screen protector, which I'm like, those are a scam.
But I mean, like a $10, even $20 scam.
It was like, for the most part, it was like Animal Crossing, which she had to get anyway. It was a $20 eShop cart, which I would have told her to get anyway, because Animal Crossing, play with your son and all that other stuff. And then, it was stuff like that. And a Pro controller, maybe. It was like the same price as the Switch Lite by itself on Amazon. So like put in that video, like here's like the order of where you should check for Switches before you go off the deep end and say, well, I guess I'm buying into a scalper.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, but in any case, recommendations, John, game wise, especially, I don't know what you have so far. You know me in real life, and we live probably 10 minutes from each other. So you can just borrow some of my physical games if you want. But nevertheless, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Smash, and Mario Kart 8 are just super easy ones to, like, if you're going to multiplayer, Smash and Mario Kart. Animal Crossing, but Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, those are super easy games to recommend. I mean, there's a lot more specific games that I could recommend too. I'd have to maybe look at a list to give more easy things, but like I really enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles. I know people really like The Witcher 3. Have you probably played that somewhere else, I'd guess, I don't know, or like Dragon Quest 11S if you're into RPGs. I don't know, there's all sorts of stuff. I'll make a video.
Yep.
Just hit me up, text me, and we'll talk. Anybody else listening this far into the podcast already probably,
you text Parker too and you'll talk.
That's right. Next comment, next question from Bianca. Asks, I asked this to Bob and Will ages ago, but forgot to ask you. What's the weirdest thing you've shouted at a game? Mine has to be, screw you, hot dog. If I'm being honest,
I don't really yell at games that much.
Yeah, I don't yell at very.
The only game that the game I come the closest to yelling at is Smash Brothers. I don't know. Maybe it's like, oh my, a B didn't come out.
Yeah,
that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever yelled at a game.
Regardless of what,
I buffered the seed attack.
Regardless of what ours are, screw you, hot dog is great.
Yeah,
so I appreciate.
I don't even know the context of that.
Even if it was not intended as a question, but it's just like, here's a funny thing I said. I'm down. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I would like to know the context. Which game
I also would. I could imagine it in Fogs, except for
that game's not even out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Or Overcooked, maybe.
Can you make
I don't know.
hot dogs in Overcooked? I don't know if that's the thing in Overcooked.
I don't know either. So yeah, I don't know the answer to this because I'm pretty general. Like even playing Dark Souls, I was just like, okay, I died. Like, here we go. So I'm not too worried about things most of the time.
Yeah. Usually, like if I'm talking when I'm playing a game is because I'm streaming it. So I'm
Yeah.
like talking to people
Mhm.
and they know like whatever I've said,
If
you know?
that
Or I'm
said-
like talking to somebody on the phone or in my vicinity. Like I
Yeah.
don't really
If I
like
do get frustrated with games, though, more often than not, it's actually
Parker's like F.
yeah, no, it's more often than not because like the Joy-Con aren't connecting or something like that, and like
Yeah.
missed a button input, and then it's just like a come on. And then oftentimes if it happens enough, I'll just be like, I'm done for right now. And then I'll just put it down because like whatever. That's definitely a frustrating thing.
Should get a pro controller.
Yeah, honestly, probably, but here we are. At Chris the Butte asks, what do you think of the new Animal Crossing update? Also, what's your thoughts on popcorn? I love popcorn, but hate that it gets stuck in my teeth. Hashtag Fanatics Foods.
Yo, popcorn, kind of lit, but like the kind of part is because like normal popcorn, I don't really have reason to eat regular popcorn. But like if you give me like caramel popcorn or like
Oh yeah,
cheese popcorn or something,
gourmet popcorn,
I'm down.
super good. That said, AMC Theaters has gourmet popcorn. The one that we go to has gourmet popcorn sometimes.
I don't like them because like every time I told you about the whole saga with freaking Sonic and I paid for that movie twice, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I talked about it. Yeah. Every time I go to the movies now, it's like $30, dude, just for me.
Yeah.
Like that's wild, man.
It has
I get like
nice.
a soda and then popcorn, and then I'll get like I don't know, like gummy worms or something. And it's like freaking $30.
Oh, we definitely bring in our own.
You're illegal.
Snacks. Oh yeah, it's great. Well, we do it all the time.
Great.
No, but yeah, like that's definitely the way we go. If it's, I mean, especially if it's something you can't even get at the movies, you know, like if I want to bring
the only time that I do that, and I think I talked about this on the podcast also, is when we go to the movie theater that's in the mall because they just don't care.
Yes.
So like I'm like, last time I freaking went to the movie theater that's in the mall, and I got like Hershey's.
Is it the same mall that I met you at?
No, that's a different mall.
Okay.
It's a mall that's closer to me. The mall that you met me at was like, I don't know, like 10 minutes from my house. The one that I could literally walk to the mall that I'm talking about in 10 minutes.
Prove it. Do it right now.
I can't. I mean, I could if I change it to my phone, like call it in from my phone. But actually, I can't because it's freaking pandemic, dude.
That's so true. One up right there.
But
really helpful in Super Mario World.
But yeah, no, the mall is super close to me. But yeah, like they just don't care because like all this stuff is there anyway. So it's like you just go. There's like a pharmacy there, and I like got like freaking white chocolate pretzels and stuff. I spent like $10 on snacks, and then like $5 on my ticket. So it's like half that. I'd hate everything.
So yeah, AMC blah blah blah. They have gourmet popcorn at the one that we go to in any case, and we got it one time, and obviously not enough people buy it because it was the most stale thing. No, it was, well, I think we had rewards points or something. I don't know, whatever. But it was the most stale thing I've ever had in my life because it was just like regular popcorn and cheese popcorn and Cheetos. And all of them were like just not like Cheeto puffs, but like the Cheeto sticks, like the jalapeno Cheetos, but not jalapeno ones. It was so bad. But in any case, the other popcorn thing that it makes me think of is I had an expander in like 7th grade, which was supposed to be pre-braces. It's like a little thing and that just goes on your back molars and like is supposed to push your
like
teeth
spacers
out. I guess, I don't know. It was called an expander. It's pretty much like a retainer sort of, but only goes in your back molars and is just like really thin, and it's like one line wire across with like a little that bit, but like only that wide. In any case, I had that, got a popcorn kernel bit stuck in that. It was there for like 4 months.
Oh my God.
I could not, like nothing I could do because it was just like in the soft palate or whatever, like up on the roof of my mouth between the thing. There was no getting it down, like brushing up there. It was the worst thing in my life. It wasn't really the worst thing in my life, but it sucked. It was annoying and I didn't like it. But popcorn's great. So there you go. And the update is also good. The Animal Crossing update.
The update. I like the update.
I like it a lot. It's good. I just bought my first
piece of art. Me too. Just did it.
Yep.
And
I'm
I looked
excited.
at the
I
whole thing. He's
wanted,
like $400,000, and I'm like, "Psh, that's nothing. And then it's like $5,000. I'm like, oh, okay, that's
yeah,
even
right.
more nothing.
Um, I kind of want to, so I'm going to donate this one, and I'm pretty sure your first one's always going to be a real one, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I'm just
then,
donating all of it, or trying to. That's what I
well,
do with
but some of
everything.
them are going to be fake ones, apparently.
Yeah, but he's going to say it. He's going to be like, this is fake. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought for
Yeah.
some reason that you couldn't find it out, or so. That
Yeah,
was the
no, I
impression
think
got.
he straight up tells you this is fake. I'm not taking this. And then,
Oh,
like,
you're right.
I
Blather
guess I'll
says that.
freaking, yeah.
So
I'll either
what I want to
sell it or
do
hang it
is
up.
not donate, like just buy all of them, not donate them, and then I don't know, maybe even have like a short Twitter video or something, just trying to guess which ones are which, and it being funny. Probably, I'm never
I
going to
thought
actually
you were
do
going to
this,
try
but
to,
it would be
like,
funny.
rip people off on Twitter. I thought you were
No.
going to try to upsell freaking Red.
I'm not crazy like that.
Sure.
Crazy in different ways. Next question comes from Alex at Kumba Koopa, who said, I recently picked up Mario Maker 2 because of the recent direct showing the world builder. Do you think the idea that you can play an infinite Mario games will get more people to buy the game now than at launch?
No, because I don't think most people see it that way. Like, even with the world builder, I don't think people see it as being able to play infinite amounts of Mario games, because I think that, like, first of all, the instinct is to think, like, I don't want to make worlds. People aren't even thinking about playing the worlds that other people make. They just think because the game's called Mario Maker, that the point of it is for them to make the game. And I don't think most people want to do that.
Honestly, I think the biggest chance of a resurgence is in the Mario Maker content creator community. If they're able to show that it's that much better of a playing experience or whatever, maybe. But
yeah,
most of them are also the Kaizo players, so like that's just hard to, a hard sell at that point.
I think the thing with them specifically is Matt Pat talked about this a long time ago, to call back to our freaking Matt Pat podcast at the beginning. How there's like tiers of like influence, where there's like there's the influencers that influence the influencers almost. I think that the only way that Mario Maker has a chance of doing that is if freaking, like a Rhett and Link, like if they're playing Mario Maker because they saw one of those Mario Maker YouTubers or whatever make a thing, and then they make a video about it, then I could see it like, taking off again. But I don't know if like the Animal Crossing, Mario Maker specific creators already, I don't know if they'll sell any more people on the game, other than maybe a few people here and there that were already like straddlers and are like, all I want is this one thing, and then once it's there, but I don't know if the masses are in that group,
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we will find out eventually if the numbers had an uptick or whatever, but I feel like probably not, which is a shame. And it really, again, it's just the pacing. The content is all
I think
great.
if this came out the month after Mario Maker did, I think that, yes, 100%, it would change like the trajectory of the sales.
Yep.
But it's too little too late, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, and also the fact that there are just so many games that came out last year made it hard for this game to really stand out how it could have if it was the big show or whatever. Yeah. Good question though. And I hope that you enjoy Mario Maker 2 because it's good and it's fun. So enjoy it. Let us know how it turns out. Now, last up, some questions from Discord. You can join our Discord too if you want. If you've listened this long, you're probably already in it. Duncan said, if you could go anywhere in the world once the global issues clear up, all expenses paid, where would you go?
Japan.
Oh, man. That's a good answer. I was going to say Mega Man would be happy to hear this. New Zealand. Just because, like, it's cool, man. But Japan's a really good. Japan's really good. I've been to Australia.
When I was like freaking 7, I wanted to go to New Zealand because of rocket power, dude. But like now, they're like
they're in New Zealand.
No,
in rocket power.
They went to New Zealand.
Oh, okay,
for like this thing. It was like a special or something.
And
they like freaking snowboarded and stuff.
Of course they did.
And they like longboard. It was lit.
Good on rocket power. Gotta love it. Yeah, I think like. Okay, Japan for Nintendo reasons alone,
just video games
would be
for me.
Yeah, would be awesome. Otherwise, like I've been a lot of places. in my life because of just growing up and stuff and being overseas or whatever. So like I've traveled a number of places. And the thing about me, like, I don't like this about myself, but like in the same way that I don't really care about museums, I don't really care about history, even though my mom and my grandma are obsessed with history stuff. And like a lot of my family is, and I just somehow got the butt end of that and like don't care. So a lot of similar ways, like I wouldn't care about going somewhere because like there's a lot of interesting World War II sites or something like that, and almost don't even super care. Like I've experienced lots and lots of different cultures, which is super cool and awesome. But I would go somewhere for the sights, and that's pretty much the main reason I'd want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, like so New Zealand, or honestly, like I grew up in the mountains in Switzerland kind of area. I'd go back to Switzerland because the Alps are dope. Like, so, you know, like I always feel bad saying that kind of thing because it feels so uncultured to be like, no, I don't really care about going to such and such place.
I think that a lot of that is like, you know, like a freaking, it's not real. Like that's perceived, that people are like, man, you're such a worse person because you don't enjoy the same things that I enjoy, or you're like lesser for whatever reason. Like if that's not what you're into, it's not what you're into, whatever.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I meet lots of people in regular life and stuff. So like I think there's some people that want to go to, like, I want to go to Italy to meet Italians and get to understand the culture of Italians or something like that. And like, first of all, a number of those places, like the school that I went to was an international school for high school. And so we had like 88 nationalities in our one school. So like, I think just that's one of those things where it's like, I feel like in large part, I've kind of checked that off the box. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel so bad saying that, but like it just being true to myself at this point, I would go to New Zealand because like, that's where Lord of the Rings was. Lord of the Rings looks awesome. I like it. And it's pretty from the bits I've seen. So that's probably what I would do. Or Japan because Nintendo. So
yeah, man, Japan. And then the freaking New Zealand to play Smash Brothers with Mega Man locally.
There you go. Perfect. I love it. Mega Man, I'm going to show up in Auckland or wherever, and we're going to hang out. Is Auckland in New Zealand? Maybe it's not. I feel
hope it's
dumb
in Australia,
already.
so that you make.
I know. I'm going to feel. I'm right. It is New Zealand. Cool. Okay, good. Is it the capital of New Zealand? I think Auckland. Actually, I'm just going to look up this. Capital of Wellington. That makes sense. Oh, actually, wait. I think that's where Mega Man is, because that's the rugby team. Is the Wellington somethings.
There it is.
I don't know, man. Speaking of Mega Man, this last question is from him. So here we go. Mega Man asks, what game has surprised you the most in your gaming history? A game you didn't think you would enjoy or look as fun to play as you thought and completely changed your opinion, and why?
Bloodborne?
Good answer.
That's a Bloodborne. Because like the aesthetic and like the theme of the game, I really don't care. You know,
that would not be
my like edgy, like freaking like Victorian, like it's real gory and that's cool, man. And like freaking people are half dead and stuff, and it's, you know, like everything's haunted, and like this is a dystopia, like post dystopia world, and like everybody's scared of everything, and they're scared of you, and you're scared of them. I don't really care about that, but the gameplay of it all made me love that game.
Yeah, I could definitely say I would feel the same way about. I don't really care about like gothic stuff in the traditional. Well, I also, whatever. I don't really care about that, but I could see that being a thing.
Or he's just like, I just hate Europe, you know?
No, I love Europe. It's great. I have been to a lot of places in Europe, and so like that's less exciting compared to going somewhere new, I guess. But no, yeah, same kind of that Victorian era Gothic kind of stuff is not as up my alley. But answer for me, honestly. There might be some more historical ones, but the easiest one that comes to mind is a very recent one.
Animal Crossing?
Two very recent ones. I guess Animal Crossing as well. I was going to say, because Animal Crossing, I think I had enough build up to it to be like, I'll probably like this game once it actually comes out. Yeah, me
telling you for 2 years that you don't like it.
Once it got to it, I was like, it's going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time. But the one that I didn't have any impression of before was... this guy right here, Divinity Original Sin
Oh
2.
yeah, you got the fancy thing.
Look at that.
It's
Thanks,
true. That
guys.
very much so was a game that I was like, hey, this game I guess exists, and they
And
want to
here's
send a
this.
code. Do you want it?
Yeah,
And there it
and
is.
man, it was just so good, and I love it a lot. So yeah, that's one that because I even remember watching it was in the September Direct, I think, or maybe it was, I don't know, it was in a Direct at some point.
I just remember it because like I saw the hype for it beforehand, like on
Yeah.
other platforms,
Right,
or PC
yeah.
specifically, and I was like, okay, whatever, like, I'm not gonna play this game. And then it came out on Switch, and then I was like, okay, whatever, I'm still probably never gonna play this game. And then I got the email, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna play this game, but maybe Parker will.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the footage in the trailer wherever it happened. It was some Direct, and I was like, it said like one of the best rated RPGs ever, blah blah blah, and I was like, I don't know, it looks kind of not good, maybe. Just because like it's, especially if you're trying to show off the coolest parts of the game, it's where the screen gets super busy because there's just so many different things you can do or whatever. So I think they were showing some of that off, and it just like also like showing off isometric stuff. Like the game is beautiful once you get into it, but at first glance, isometric games just generally don't look that great because it doesn't show this vast like haha world thing. But
We
it
just
is
got
great.
an update. Specifically,
Did
John Francis dish from Bianca on the hot dog thing. She said
oh
run and gun level in Cuphead. Don't remember the name, but was the but was the one at the fair. Mini boss is a hot dog right at the checkpoint, and I kept dying until I eventually took him out. It was a victory cry.
it was a victory cry.
There it is.
Screw you, hot dog. And you know what food would you say screw you such and such food? Let us know all that in the comments. Maybe you're lactose intolerant and you're like, screw you, ice cream, because you don't like ice cream.
You don't like
or
ice
you would
cream.
like to like ice cream, but you're mad at it.
I think that I don't know, man. I'm not lactose intolerant, so I don't know your plight.
Ashley's a little bit lactose. She's like a little bit's fine, but after a while, it's like, ooh, that.
What's more weird? Being, I think technically.
Is this the question for everybody, or?
For you, but
Okay.
hey, if anybody else wants to answer it, what's more weird?
Mm-hmm.
Being tolerant of lactose, being lactose intolerant, which is, I think, my perception of this is probably that's the most non-weird thing, is being lactose intolerant, or being a little bit lactose intolerant. What's the most weird?
I don't know. In the context of like, why are we able to drink cow's milk? Like, is that?
No, I mean like in terms of like, what do you think is the least common thing?
Oh, least common?
Yeah. So you think more people are lactose intolerant, fine with lactose, are a little bit lactose intolerant?
Well, for what it's worth, most people, even if they don't have bad reactions to lactose, it's kind of like a gluten thing where it's like it actually is doing some little things to you, but you don't really realize because it's not bad enough to notice. So I guess that, but if it's like a question of, is it going to ruin your day or not? It seems like probably most people are tolerant of it. I guess tolerant also has a certain level of like, yeah, it's fine kind of in the word.
I feel like most people that I know are lactose intolerant. Like, and I mean like to the point that they know that they're lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And
that much I definitely don't experience.
And it's like not to the point where it's like, because there's people that are like straight up allergic to milk, and then there's being lactose. It's a whole spectrum. Dude.
Yeah,
and I don't know anybody that's allergic to milk.
There's also like dairy. I think lactose and dairy aren't always the same. There's some kinds of things like that. Also, for what it's worth, apparently, and this is anecdotal, so let me know, people. But in Asia specifically, like China and Eastern Asia, I guess, just milk in general just isn't very much of a thing. So like I went there once and we were like, hey, we brought some cheese with us. You want to try cheese? And they're like, we've never tried cheese before. And that was like so crazy to me. It's like, you just never, because it's
Will
just
doesn't like cheese.
So, but apparently
I left my
Will.
I left my comment on Will's video. I said,
crazy.
I
He's
said
gotta
something,
like cheese. It's so good.
I said something like, I said you're more of a big dumb than Bob. And that makes me sad to say. And I put a sad face. That was my comment.
That's good. But yeah, so apparently a decent number, I guess, of folks that were born and raised in like Asia. I don't know what parts of Asia specifically, but would be more lactose intolerant just because they didn't grow up with it. I don't know. Maybe not a thing. Maybe it's just anecdotal from that, but there it is. But you know what, everybody? Let us know what you are most intolerant of.
What are you intolerant of?
Licorice? It's definitely licorice. Let us know all that more in the comments below. And tell someone listen to the podcast because they might be bored. Also, we're talking about, just before recording, we were talking about maybe switching up the format, a little bit of all this. So maybe in the future, expect to see some changes, but we'll figure it out. We'll keep you posted on what happens. So it wouldn't be super drastic changes in a lot of regards, but at the same time, be kind of different. So we'll see.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.